Welcome back to another episode of MogCast, episode number. Let me see, because we didn't do this in the last one. Episode
34. I know it already. It's fucking 34.
Episode number 33.
Fuck.
So welcome back to episode number 33. This is the second time we are filming this podcast because for some reason we are fucking retards.
Actually, no, that was not our fault. We did nothing wrong.
Besides leave the roadcast around for 3 months straight.
Yeah, we did that wrong. So what happened is we filmed the episode with Derek, and we finished, and Derek got up, and Sush got up, and I got up, and we walked out of the room, closed the door, and the door did not open for 3 months. 3 months. We didn't turn off the camera.
That camera was on. This roadcaster was on. One of the lights was on. So you know what? You could say we're a little bit retarded, but that is... You know, we're on to bigger and better things. So we are here with Dawson, a.k.a. DTren, a.k.a. Dr. Tren, what I like to call him.
Dr. Tren.
We are here. This is the second time we're filming this fucking bitch. So.
And one day.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I don't even really know how to get this thing going.
I know, because it feels like we already covered it. Fuck, you tried the Anabar. You tried the good flavor on the first attempt.
Yeah.
But that was the last s'mores we had, so now you got to try one. I mean, cinnamon swirl is good. White chocolate cinnamon swirl, it is good. But I don't know, s'mores just hits different, you know. But like we also tried the white chocolate and a butter, which was fucking amazing.
So wait,
maybe we can just put.
So what happened? Well, no, there's no reaction. But what happened was we tried it on the other podcast. We filmed it earlier today. The SD didn't record for some reason, but we tried it.
No, so
what? Butter.
Wait,
really.
So what happened? Just real quick to cut you off. The video recorded, and the video does record some audio. It does record the internal mic on the camera, but it sounds really shitty. It reverbs off the walls. It just sounds horrible, and it picks up the AC in the background. It sounded really fucking bad. And me and Brandon were wondering if we should just upload it anyway because we just filmed a 2-hour podcast. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But when the AC was off, because the AC comes and goes, and when it was off, it sounded just good enough for us to be like, you know what, we should upload it. But when it came back on, you could hear just this light little whoosh in the background, and it just sounded so shitty. So this is what didn't work. The actual microphones did not pick up the audio, so it just sounded like shit, and we weren't going to upload shit for you guys. So we're fucking dedicated. We're doing another one.
Showing that you guys want it.
Yeah, and this time we're doing it a little bit under the influence because this time, you know, it's late night. It's fucking, we're filming this at 12:30. We're starting this at 12:30 a.m. So, you know, we thought we'd open up a couple of claws, which, by the way, White Claw Surge, 8%. Fucking beauties. These are delicious. For 8% alcohol and 160 calories, these are pretty damn good. So, White Claw, if you're hearing this, if anyone works at White Claw, we'd love a sponsor. That'd be great.
That would be sick.
But, yeah, let's get into it. Dawson.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what was your opinion on Anabar?
It was pretty good.
Because you had it on the first time here. You said it tastes like what? A Snickers bar?
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know if I'd eat them. That one particular one, it's really thick for me.
Yeah.
But maybe I might like this one more. It just tastes like a candy bar. Most people probably like that.
With 20 grams of protein.
It's a little thick.
Yeah. I'll do a live reaction, or we'll get your reaction right now, but the reaction that we got from Dawson before was he bit into it, chewed it for a second, and said, "This tastes like Snickers."
Yeah.
And then he said, "This doesn't taste like a protein bar. It tastes like a Snickers."
Exactly.
So that's all you really missed.
Go ahead and give it a try. That one is the white chocolate covered with cinnamon toast crunch.
Sweet.
Yeah, it is. That one is sweet. The white chocolate is very sweet.
Is it?
Yeah, the white chocolate is very sweet.
Yeah, cinnamon.
Not gonna lie, I do like this one more.
Really?
Yeah, I like the cinnamon.
No, that's actually good because we always shit on the cinnamon.
I really
So
like
I like the cinnamon. I'm a fan.
I like the Anna Butter version of this too better than the other one you guys.
So we also tried the new Anabar, Anna Butter, which we don't have in our hands, but the Anna Butter was really good. So cookies and cream Anna Butter and the cinnamon toast crunch Anna Butter. That shit is fire. So that is dropping sometime in the middle of March.
Wait, do we still have the Anna Butter in here?
No, it's outside.
All right. Well, I remember it. It is 12 grams of fat, 11 grams of carb, 8 grams of protein. And if you look at
180 calories.
If you look at regular peanut butter, it's shittier macros than that. So it's a little more protein, but overall, obviously, for cutting, no bueno. But if you're bulking and you want to get some extra calories in, you want to get some extra protein in, look at Anna Butter. The white chocolate cookies and cream's fucking insane.
If you're on the DTren diet, it's really good.
Yeah. The jam diet right now.
The fast
DTren
food,
jam diet.
the
We're all
fast
eating
food.
the same shit.
Yeah. Just trying to get as most calories in as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we should. What I'm thinking is we rehash some of the stuff that we talked about on the first podcast and then get into some questions, because we did talk about some really good shit on the first one. I'm really upset that we lost it, but
Very wholesome.
what the fuck did we talk about?
All right, man. I'm going to be honest. Let's just run from the start. Where did the name DTren originate from?
All right. So, originated from my friends. I wasn't originally called DTren, obviously, when I was younger. I used to hang out on a block, with some friends, and they would just call me DTron. I don't know why, but they called me DTron, and I started using that a few years later on Reddit. I was a little big on Reddit for a while, and I started using Tren a lot, and I moved on to TikTok, and I was like, well, DTren sounds better, and I'm starting a new account, so I was like, I'll just change it to DTren instead of DTron.
So you changed it from DTron to DTren.
Yeah.
But we were saying earlier, DTron is pretty sick.
It does sound pretty sick, but I
Megatron.
wanted to change
Transformer.
it because when I was DTron, I was a bit more worse. Like I was a bit more immature. Like, I don't know. I was kind of a savage.
How?
So I didn't really...
In what way?
Just kind of like how I am now, like on TikTok, but worse. So I'd like make fun of people and I would troll a lot. And
Wait, so you were DTron on Reddit?
Yeah, and when I was younger, people called me that.
Right.
Yeah, but I was
when did it?
DTron on Reddit.
And it
That's
only
what I
switched to DTren when you came over to TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I used Tren a lot, and I was like, oh, DTren has a better, name to it, and it's a lot more marketable if you think about it. Because Tren's really
DTren
popular.
sounds good.
It's really popular. People know when they type in Tren, I'm going to pop up.
Ah.
On YouTube, like Tren, who's going to pop up? DTren. Or
Is that
Google.
true? I'm fact checking you right now, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
A
Tren.
little smart, huh?
I didn't
Tren.
even think about that.
The power of Tren. Joe Linder. Why I'm scared of Tren. More plates, more dates. Realistic Tren before and after. I don't see any DTren on here.
God damn it.
No, but it makes sense, though.
But if you mistype and you accidentally put a D in front of it, there you are.
Or
You're good. You're at 22.3 already?
yeah.
God
Or
damn.
people will be like, how long have you been taking DTren? People on TikTok, I've had them comment, how long have you been taking DTren? Or where can I find
Oh,
DTren?
because
so
they
they
don't know
think-
what
they
they
think
think it's
D-Tren
called.
is-
That's a steroid. My name is a steroid. So some people get confused. I thought that was funny.
You should patent your own steroid. Call it that.
Maybe.
Yeah, change the molecular makeup just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Call it
Maybe
DTren.
have Derek help
Make
me.
some royalties on it.
Derek help me out with that.
Derek, if you're watching this, because I know you are, would you go ahead and reach out to Mr. Tren here? Change the name DTren. But yeah, you were not a fan of Gorilla. Well, not a fan.
No, that's not true. DTren
He had just
was
never-
simply a Turkesterone hater, and half of that was just to be edgy because it's TikTok and it was fucking funny. Even someone who's sponsored by Gorilla, it's funny when someone shits
And
on.
no one else was really talking on Turk like that except for me when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, why not? This is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it just kind of sucks the way, and we've talked about this before, but it kind of sucks because when Turk first ever dropped, Derek sent me a long audio about it, and he was just like, yeah, it's good if you're natty, it might make you some gains. And then he made a video on it, and he was very upfront about it. He's like, I don't actually think this is like stronger than D-ball just because it is in rats. But I think like it helped my natural friend break through a plateau. It can probably help you if you're natural, but it's not going to be anything like steroids. And then everyone just turned it into like Turkesterone is the new natural bug steroid. And a lot of people also took Joe Rogan clips out of context because Joe Rogan talked about Turk. And people would take his clips out of context too, and they would think like Turkesterone is the new fucking bug steroid, like insect-derived steroid. It's like natural, but it's going to get you as big as fucking D-ball. And since Derek was kind of the first person to complex it and like sell it mainstream, he caught flack for it because he was just the only one who was selling the product at the time, and all these other people were kind of hyping it up. And then Derek was like talking to me about it, and he's like, it really fucking sucks because I never hyped it up like this. Everyone else did, but now everyone is like coming at me for it.
Especially a lot of TikTokers on TikTok were also talking like it was a steroid.
Yeah, I know James and I
to
can,
get sales.
I know James and I can personally say we've never pushed it like that.
Yeah.
Whenever I've pushed it, I say, yo, I haven't even taken this. I don't even know if
Which
it
is the
works.
right
But
thing
if
to
you're
do.
but if you're natural, go ahead and take it. See if you can make gains. I know natural people who have made gains from it.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna be fucking huge off of it.
Lex spoke pretty highly of it.
Yeah.
And I've taken Turk, but I was also on gear at the time. So it's
So
like,
you don't know what's what.
I made gains, but like how
Only-
much was it? 5% from Turk, 20% from Turk, 1% from
The
Turk. I
only
had no
thing
idea.
about Turk with naturals, it's expensive. So I think, I mean, if
Yeah.
the smarter thing for them would just to be invest in better food.
Yeah, or
In
like
my opinion, I believe
or a
best
fucking violet
in it.
test.
Or that. But if they want to stay natural, just invest in more food, better high quality food, and maybe a good pre-workout that helps you train harder.
yeah, I think like if someone already has, like in this specific circumstances, someone already has very good nutrition, near perfect, very good sleep, and very good training, and for whatever reason they really do not want to push the envelope to actually get on real gear,
Yeah.
then yeah, sure, there's nothing wrong with getting Turk. It probably will help you break through whatever natural plateaus you have, but I think once you get to that point where your nutrition is like tapped out, your sleep is tapped out, and your training is tapped out, and you're still not making gains, I would say the majority of people at that point might choose to like take a SARM or a steroid. But if you don't want to go down that route, which is perfectly fine and probably healthier, then sure, get Turk. But just understand that it is going to be probably the more expensive route.
Even probably more expensive than a cycle if you want to run a full cycle of Turk.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Depends how high you run your dosages of the cycle, but yeah.
Yeah. Or where you get it from.
Yeah.
So what turns you on Tren? Because you blew up off of Tren content.
Yeah.
So what made you start Tren, and then what made you start the Tren content?
Well, the main reason why I started Tren maybe like my fourth cycle, my third or fourth, and I was actually thinking of doing a bodybuilding show. Like I wanted to actually compete, and I was kind of fluffy
You should.
coming off of, maybe one day.
Everyone comment DTren compete.
I was coming off a test D-ball cycle, and I was just too fluffy. I was like 250 at like 20 years old, 252. And I was like, man, fuck, I need to like cut up. And so I got some Tren, and I quickly got like,
You were 252?
yeah, on like 500 tests and like 20 D-ball. Just 250 pounds. I was really fluffy though.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know you ever got that heavy, though.
No, I've been to 255 before.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And people are like, don't do it. I'm like, I don't care what you have to tell me. So I did it, and I fell in love with it really quickly because it gave me the most gains and progress I've ever seen. And it quickly leaned me out better than before. When I first started off like tests and D-ball and little deca, I was eating very clean, and I was still very watery, like bloated all the time because my estrogen was high. And I don't respond the best to estrogen, from testosterone or D-ball. Had acne.
Same.
And when I got on Tren, my skin cleared up. I got a lot leaner. My muscles looked a lot better, bigger, more aesthetic. And I was like, wow, this shit's for me. The only issue is it fucked with my nips a bit.
And your mental eventually, right?
Yeah, down the line. But it did mess with it then. It's just I had more positives out of it than negatives at the time. So I was making all these unheard of gains that it was so quick. And I looked so good. I was like, who gives a fuck? I look good anyway.
And when you first started Tren, it was like you get the physical aspect of just looking fucking sick. And then two, you also get kind of the God complex mental aspect.
The edginess.
But for everything in life, for every high, there's a low. So eventually you keep pushing the Tren, you keep chasing that God complex, and eventually it just doesn't work.
The more I'd run it, the less good I'd feel. Like my last time I ran Tren a few weeks ago, I felt like depressed. Majority of it. Like some days I'd feel
like
good.
Paranoid too.
I wouldn't get paranoid. It's just I just felt depressed. Like kind of like no emotions.
But you got paranoid, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I was getting paranoid when I was on. I pushed it to 700 a week for 2 weeks because I was hitting him up, and I was like, yo, like, this was when I was binging and I was eating a lot of food and I was kind of out of control. And I was like, yo, I'm trying to stay lean while eating all this food.
I was worried about you, bro.
Yeah, no, I was also like ripping Xanax and stuff like that. It was bad.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We should get into.
Do not fuck with Xanax. But yeah, so we were binging. Wes and I were going out eating, and I had asked you, yo, what should I run? Because I want to stay relatively lean while I'm eating 6,000 plus calories a day. And you were like, yeah, run Tren. And I was like, okay, what dose? And we were like fucking running around 800, 700 milligrams. So I said, fuck it, 700 milligrams. So I did that for about 2 weeks. But by the end of that 2 weeks, that was the first time in my life where I was paranoid, because I was talking to somebody at the time, and I'm like constantly checking their following and like constantly checking like photos that like trying to be like, yo, why are you engaging on this person's post?
Would you actually say that to that person?
Yeah. Really? And they'd be like, yo, what are you talking
Very
about?
confrontational.
Yeah.
Like very like out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I was super paranoid that like this girl was cheating on me or like something like that,
Yeah.
or this girl's like, God knows what, my mind's just throwing all these ideas in me, and I was like, yo, this is 1,000% the trend, because as soon as I stopped it, 3 days later, it took 3 days, that mental was out of my head.
When did you stop Tren?
I would say the beginning of this year, or no,
Okay.
like the end of last year.
Yeah, because I've noticed. Have you noticed we haven't gotten into a single, even like mild argument for like since I got back from Dubai?
Yeah.
And I think for one, I was on. So I only made one video on this, but I was on Deca, which is a 19 Nor, and I was on no testosterone. I was on Deca and a tiny little bit of D-ball. And I made a video about it, and I was like, all right, I look great, and it's making me a lot of gains. It is making me kind of fluffy, but it's also making me very fucking depressed. And I would just be lethargic. I would have no motivation to do anything. And I just had low self-esteem. I just didn't think, like I was downing myself a lot. And it took me a while, because I've never had any issues mentally with gear. So it took me a while to actually trace that to the gear I was taking. I kept thinking, well, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that. But then I realized like all these other components in my life are actually pretty good. The only thing out of whack left must be my hormones. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try high test. The reason I was staying away from it was because I didn't want to take an AI because it's unhealthy. But I said, you know what? I'm willing to minutely sacrifice my health to save my mental health, because this just isn't fucking worth it anymore.
Yeah, I saw you talk to me about that, actually starting testosterone.
Yeah.
You told me. I think I was one of the first people you told.
I had nothing against high test. I mean, I would have loved to run it that whole time, but I just didn't want to take an AI because it's unhealthy. But eventually it's like...
It works.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, maybe I'll shave a couple years off my life, but at least I won't be fucking depressed. Like, it's really not worth being depressed in my early 20s. Like, that's the worst fucking thing ever.
Or shave some years off your life with Deca and Tren.
That's true too. But I wasn't taking
feel like
Tren.
shit.
I was taking Deca D-ball. But so simultaneously, as I came off Deca and I switched over to test, I started feeling much better. Brandon also switched off of Tren. And before that, some of it also might have been the calorie deficit you were in for a long ass time. So let's not discount that. But aside that point, we would kind of just bicker here and there. We would get into little arguments. But then all of a sudden, we got off the 19 Nors. We're both on just test right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been like smooth sailing.
Yeah. And I will say that right now, because right now I'm like 250 tests a week, and that's been like 2-3 weeks. And then I throw in, like this week, because you're here, I've been throwing in like Superdrol or like Anavar.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's literally just been tests. I've been feeling like my mental, like honestly, it's the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like I'm balancing working out, 250 tests, drinking on the weekends, like keeping it balanced. And I've been feeling healthy and super just happy.
I feel like there's a really fine line where something that is really close to overwhelming you and kind of ruining your whole day or week, you can get just below the point of being overwhelmed when you're managing your hormones better and running a low dose of shit. but you can get just above the point of being overwhelmed when you're running a shitload of stuff. So you don't really connect the dots and think to yourself, oh, this is definitely the hormones. But if you have like 100 of those scenarios every day where every single time you're just getting pushed slightly over the mental threshold, it can really like impact your quality of like mental health, you know? Because you're just constantly being like, this is too much for me, this is too much for me, this is too much for me. Versus when you manage your hormones, it's like, I can deal with that, I can deal with that, I can deal with that.
Right.
You know, and it kind of just like levels you out. So all I know is that, I mean, I won't say I'm done with DECA forever, but for the foreseeable future, I think I'm just sticking with test.
Yeah, and I've touched on this in my recent video, but mostly my thing is like, at least with the career that I'm choosing and the future that I'm trying to, obtain, I'm trying to stay away from like blasting gear. Like I'll probably never touch Tren again in my life. I don't think I ever will.
Really?
Yeah. Because unless I'm like for some reason wanted to compete or like step on stage, I don't think I'll ever touch Tren again.
You think you never? What's the percentage chance you think you'll ever step on stage?
25%. So good amount, quarter.
That's relatively high.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I would say a quarter, like 25% chance that I step on stage within the next 5 years. And if it's not within the next 5 years, it won't be for
It won't be
my
ever.
whole life.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I'm just chilling on 250 tests, a little bit of enhanced TRT, making gains.
For fun.
Yeah, it's for
Enhanced
fun.
TRT, yeah.
Because
It's
I'm
for fun,
here.
just to feel good. And, tossing a couple of orals here and
Oh,
there.
I mean, for the sake of honesty, yeah, I'll throw in Anadrol 2 or 3 times a week at 25 milligrams if I know a hard workout's coming up. But I don't really consider that like part of my cycle, because what does that add up to? Like 50 milligrams a week on average of Anadrol compared to 500 milligrams a week of test. The test is what's actually like building the muscle. The Anadrol is just like when I'm feeling lethargic, kind of have to like push myself to even get to the gym, and I know it's going to be a hard workout. I'm like, you know what? I'll just take some Anadrol. And then I inevitably have a fucking amazing workout because of it.
Yeah. And, my focus now is more on expanding and evolving my content and like my brands and shit like that rather than the bodybuilding. Because I've already decided, listen, I don't have fucking great genetics. I'm not going to be a fucking pro bodybuilder. I'm not going to look insane, but I'm going to be like happy with what I look like. And then that way, when I'm happiest, because we talked about this, months ago, when I'm happiest, that's when I make the best content, because people can tell like, yo, he's really happy. Whether he's like not starving himself, like he's actually eating food and he's getting good workouts in, that's when my content is going to be the best, because mentally I'm the happiest.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on now, because I've already I'm not going to be the next John Skywalker. I've already thrown that out the window. As much as I look up to him, I'm never going to be John. I'm never going to look like him. And I've accepted that. And so now it's more of let me do my own thing. Let me do my own route and pave the way for people to kind of look up to me in that kind of sense, where you don't have to look the best, but you can still have an influencer life, and you can still have this mindset where you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want if you just go for it type shit.
Yeah, and I'm happy about that for you, because if that's what you want, then that's good.
Because that's the only reason why I push the gear.
Not to give you like false hope, quote unquote, but I've said this before a million times, and I'll say it again. I do think you undervalue your genetics. And for every single person, there's one thing that we wish we could like not have. And for me, it would be like bad leg genetics, let's say. And for you, it would be like lower belly fat. But I think you severely undervalue how good your genetics are, because I even saw this SD card today, and I wasn't sure if I should delete everything on it so that I could film a new video. And it was an old SD from probably August when you were like pretty fucking shredded. And I clicked on one of the pictures and I was like, holy shit, he looked fucking nuts. So, and that's only you've really only been training for what, like 2.5 years?
It's been 3.
3. And how much of that have you been unnatty? 2?
2, like 2.25.
Yeah. So basically 2. That's like a drop in the bucket, compared to most people that are actually stepping on stage. But with that being said, if that's just not what you want to do, regardless of your genetics,
right,
then it doesn't matter if you have the best genetics in the world. If you don't want to step on stage, you don't want to step on stage.
Yeah. Because when I'm dieting, dude, like you're seeing it with Weston now, and I'm not trying to take a shot at Weston, but he knows this too. It's like he's only in his room, and he does his videos, and then he goes back in his room. It's like, dude,
Yeah, fuck that.
I like personally when I was dieting, all I would do is I would wake up, brush my teeth, eat my breakfast, go straight back into bed.
Fuck.
And just hibernate.
Is that what I have to look forward to?
I don't know, because you guys react to hunger pretty well.
When I diet, I eat the same food. I just eat a bit less of it, and I do more cardio.
I think prep's kind of different.
And but prepping, I've got about 7%, 8% before.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of that?
Yeah, I do, but it was when I was natural. I have to look it up, but I ate a bit cleaner. It's just I would just eat less.
I mean that's really it. It's just calories.
Cardio, but if I would do it now, I'd eat the same exact food, adjust my dosages so I could have the driest physique possible, and I would do a lot more cardio. Simple.
I mean, you remember I cut from the beginning of May to the beginning of July, so about 8 weeks.
Yeah, and you look fucked.
I looked pretty shredded. I wasn't stage ready.
You look fucking
I think
retarded.
I did look fucked, but I wasn't stage ready.
I think
we can both agree I was probably 4 weeks out from stage ready, right? Probably 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Was I really suffering at the end of that?
No.
Was I? I mean, I was out like watching TV with you guys, talking with you guys. Like,
yeah. See that's the difference. That's the differences between like Weston and I.
Yeah.
Dude, we can't even fucking function if like all I'm thinking about is food and like how to fill up and like eating fucking ice or cauliflower rice.
No, I mean all
2
I'm thinking
bags
about
of cauliflower rice.
all I'm thinking about when I'm bulking is just like I'm probably more depressed when I'm bulking because I'm just always like farting and shitting.
Oh yeah,
you know
that sucks. The gas is terrible.
Yeah, it's just like always bloated, always kind of feeling this sense of feeling very unhealthy 24/7. Versus with you, it's like your body is just like a fucking like a meat grinder, just always like you put food into it and it just shits it out. But with me, it's like the more calories I pile on top of my stomach, it's just in my DNA to be like, dude, stop eating. You're not meant for this. Like, relax. You know, versus when I cut, the first few weeks of cutting, it was actually pretty nice. I felt healthier. Like, my body almost functioned more efficiently on less calories. It's like it's built into me. So I wish I could have a midpoint of me and you in terms of appetite and metabolism, because I feel like I'm bulking for the vast majority of every year. Right. And it just doesn't, I feel unhealthy. Like when I go up a set of stairs and I'm out of breath, you know, because I'm like eating all the time and I'm 22, I'm thinking, bro, this is kind of embarrassing. Like fucking getting upstairs and I'm like,
and dude, that's the main thing with me is like, I was always kind of worried about, you know, when I was really lean and people were DMing me and they'd be like, yo, why don't you just like main gain from here? You look really good.
You were fucking suffering.
And I'm thinking, dude.
Damn. It's about 7-8% natty. You can scroll to the right and left for little other ones, but
hold on, we'll revisit this topic in a second.
I was pretty fucking lean.
Here's DTren.
Oh yeah, I've seen these photos.
I was 165.
That was D lean.
165 pounds.
We call that lean trend.
Damn, bro, your face. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Eric, let's put that. Eric, Madrid, you're editing this podcast. Let's throw that picture.
Screenshotting this.
Let's put that picture right there for everyone to see.
Dude, your face.
I was 18 right there.
It's not even that you were.
Does he look fucked? Let me see. Give me the fucking phone.
Look at that.
God damn, my boy, handsome as fuck.
No, but I feel like he's almost more pretty boy handsome there.
Oh, yeah.
But you're more masculine handsome now.
Yeah,
There's like a difference.
It's funny though. Like I get more attention now from women versus when I looked like
that. Because girls don't like.
I looked more feminine.
Girls like more of the
masculine look.
Yeah,
like a masculine,
abs, big body.
You know what's funny?
Blah, blah, blah.
Girls.
Wait.
What?
We're back on the Nick.
Oh, we're back in the Nick. I mean, yeah, I got off it while I was in Dubai. Like after I got home, I was off it for a few weeks, and then it was like on the table, and I hit it, and then there you go. But anyway, we're past that. Everything you're about to hear, I learned from Jordan Peterson, so it may or may not be true, but Jordan is a behavioral psychologist, so I don't think he's spitting misinformation. He said that when girls are not on birth control, when they're full natty, they prefer the more square face, the more masculine jaw, the more masculine features. When girls get on birth control, they prefer the more pretty boy, feminine, masculine look. Like the slimmer jaw, the kind of cuter, like threaded eyebrows, that kind of look.
Yeah.
So it's weird how like the more you shut a girl down in terms of her hormones and make her like less feminine, the more she prefers a feminine man. And the more you make her return to like,
well, it makes sense.
Traditional hormones, the more she prefers a masculine man. It does.
But the more maybe beta feminine man is going to be more security for her in the sense he won't go out and try to mate with another woman.
But I wonder why.
While the alpha masculine
square jaw,
masculine men have been proven to have more success with women.
Right, but
That's
why?
a proven fact.
But I wonder why birth control would affect that when you shut down a girl's estrogen.
When a woman's on birth control, it's essentially like she's pregnant. Her hormones are like she's pregnant.
Let me ask you a question.
Derek, fact check that.
Let me ask you.
I know you're listening right now.
I believe that's how it is.
Really?
Yeah, because they take synthetic progesterone and estrogen.
The way I see it, much more abstract, less scientific. The more you...
But it makes perfect sense.
It does make perfect sense. The way I see it is the more you fuck with someone's hormones, the more they're going to be attracted to less evolutionarily proper shit. And the less you fuck with someone's hormones, the more traditional it's going to be. They're going to be attracted to more properly masculine features.
Yeah.
From a bro science standpoint. But go ahead.
This is my question. What do I look like to you? Do I look feminine?
You look pretty.
No.
So I look feminine?
No.
So I look feminine?
You used to be the pretty boy. And that's actually the biggest thing that I've noticed is
if you go back to old photos, I look fucking...
No, but I'm not even talking about that. I can tell the difference between you in like August, September of 2021, I'm talking like 5-6 months ago, versus you now. Your jaw keeps getting more and more square. And I don't know if that's just because of age.
Could be the gear.
Or it's probably both.
Yeah.
But
I think it's Tren.
Dude, I looked at an old video of me the other day.
Tren will age the fuck out of you.
I must have been like 16 or 17. I looked so fucking young. Like my jaw was so much thinner. My cheeks were thinner. My head was smaller. Everything was just like slim.
Listen, what you guys are hearing right now is do not take Tren do not take drugs because you're gonna age like a fucking...
No, but I don't think this is necessarily aging.
It's not aging. It's
I think
masculinization.
it's masculinization.
Oh, so never mind. Take that shit. Take all the gear that you want, guys. You get fucking...
No, I mean, honestly, if it's... I'm not here to condone steroids. But kidding. If you're already considering gear, and on top of that, you feel like you have a somewhat feminized face, then there you go.
But that could be a plus and negative for some people.
If you already have a very masculine face,
and
then you take
you're just gonna get ugly, bro.
You're gonna get fucking
fucking ugly. Do not take that shit because you're gonna get fucking ugly.
Yeah,
and no bitch is gonna want to fuck you.
That's not true.
No, it's true.
But the only thing that kind of sucks, it doesn't suck because we're not at that stage yet, and I don't think I ever will be. But what happens with a lot of pro bodybuilders, especially guys that are open, is it doesn't matter how lean they are, they always have a fat face. And
Kai Green.
Yeah, I mean everyone. The only person not the only person I've seen, but the most like well-known, recognizable person that this hasn't really happened to that much is Chris Bumstead. He's been very handsome for like since he was natty, and now he's still like got a very...
It's because he doesn't push the gear that much.
I think so.
Supposedly.
I honestly think so. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about his dosages because it's not my business. But from what I've heard from people that are very close to him, Chris has very surprisingly low dosages. And the reason why he doesn't come out and say it is because he knows people are going to think that he's lying about it. And he doesn't want to be seen as like a liar, or maybe he just doesn't want to talk about it publicly. So if he doesn't want to talk about it publicly, I'm not here to talk about it publicly. But I honestly think that's why.
Listen, there's a rumor that Chris will be in Houston pretty soon. So right now I need everybody to stop watching the podcast, go over, swipe over to Instagram very quickly, come back, but very quickly swipe over to Instagram, DM Chris, or comment on whatever recent photo there is and tag MogCast, because if he is in Houston, we are getting him on this fucking podcast.
Everyone spam Chris now. I mean, we
And-
could probably just message him. But
Yeah, that is true.
it's cooler to.
But yeah, I think it would be really cool to have him on.
Yeah.
But I was gonna segue this. What is the most amount of gear that you have ran? Like, what's your fucking craziest cycle? Because you're known on TikTok for being like Mr. DTren, running fucking grams of Tren, grams of gear, straight to the Johnson tip.
Yeah, straight to the tip.
I wanna hear it. What's the craziest cycle?
I think I would say the craziest. I mean, I've ran a bit more, but I would say overall strength, this was probably the craziest. I was 20. I was running like maybe 1,300 tests. This wasn't all like one cycle.
Holy fuck!
This
okay.
was like, and I titrated.
1,300 tests.
Yeah, this was like a 20-week cycle. So I started at maybe like 500 tests, and I slowly titrated up test and trend. So I didn't just run this for 20 weeks. I ran it for maybe 6 to 8. About 1,300 tests. I was running 1,000 testosterone and anthe and 200 to 300 tests no ester pre-workout. So I'd take it like 3 times a week.
Like test suspension. Is that what that shit's called?
It's
No,
the one in
he
oil.
said it's TNE.
Yeah,
It's called TNE,
it's
test no ester.
It's an oil. It's not water-based, but it does kick in at like 40 minutes. So I'd take that.
What's the
pre-workout,
half-life on it? Like an hour?
Like in 2 hours.
Fuck.
2-3 hours. And
Wait, you were taking how much of that?
about 100 milligrams 3 times a day. Not 3 times a day, 3 times a week. So I would take
That's not bad.
I would take like on chest, back, whatever.
Wait, so you 1,300
Tests.
plus, you're saying like 300 or so test no
I was
ester?
taking 1,300 in total with the test E and the test no ester.
Okay.
That's the most tests
okay.
I ever ran. And
Were you running
Tren-
anything else?
Yeah, I was on about 1,200 Tren. I was on about
God, bro.
1,300 Tren. I was on like
Oh my
1,000
God.
Tren E, which is a bit weaker than Ace. It's like
Yeah.
it's a little bit weaker. So I was like, oh,
What's it, a heavier ester or
yeah,
something?
I was like, oh, I've ran more Tren Ace than I have a gram of Tren E. I ran a gram of Tren Ace my first Tren cycle near the end. So I was like, all right.
Holy
So I added like 350 Tren Ace with the Tren E. And I was also on like 150 milligrams of Anadrol last 4 to 6 weeks.
Every day?
Every day?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
And
bro.
I was 255.
Bro, are you
for
sure you're
that.
supposed to be drinking this shit? Like, you're
yeah,
about to get fucking
it was nice knowing you, man.
jaundice, dude.
This was literally, this was before I was even on TikTok. That was probably the biggest, strongest.
Wait, so
cycle.
how long had you been in?
Do you have a picture of this?
How long had you been into gear
send me
at this point?
send me the picture later. Eric, toss up the photo right now. We'll get this picture going right now. But
Wait, well,
just send it later. Just send it later.
But
Just send it later.
I would say I've looked better. I look better now, but I was pushing it a lot more, and I did look a bit freaky for my age at 20. I was 255 with abs at 20.
Holy fuck,
Hold on,
255 with abs.
39
bro.
minutes. Throw up picture of geared out.
That is fucking
DTren.
crazy.
But I wasn't like super lean, but I did have visible abs, and I had veins everywhere, and I was really strong. Like I would do 225 on bench for almost 30 reps. Like
That's
easy.
fucking
Wait, that's more than
D-line
me.
combine.
I've only
shit.
ever
I was-
hit it for a 23.
I was really, really.
Yo, real
strong.
quick, I'm gonna use the bathroom. You guys continue.
Jesus,
But I don't.
bro.
I don't advise anyone to run that because it's not healthy.
Yeah, I was gonna say before
and
you got
also-
started.
And also, I did it to experiment to see what it would do for me, and I like to experiment. So it wasn't, oh, is this a smart thing, or I needed to do this. It's because I wanted to do it, and I've told many people about it. Some people are like, wow, that's really informative. Other people are like, that's stupid. Well, it's both. Bodybuilding isn't smart. I'm not the only one that's ever done that. It's
Yeah.
not unheard of. Many bodybuilders have ran a gram of Tren or 2 to 3 grams of test. It's
And
not
you
unheard of.
also you were talking about on the first podcast that unfortunately got deleted.
Yeah.
You were saying how when you were younger, you kind of had this like fuck everyone mentality where it's like
Yeah.
you can't tell me what to do. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do. So it was I would imagine people telling you like don't do that. You're gonna hurt yourself. It's bad for you. Even though they might have been right,
Yeah.
in your head it was like, dude, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do whatever the hell I
So-
want.
I was on a forum, Reddit steroids forum, at like 160,000 people. And when I was running this Tren, I was like the youngest guy. And I was probably
What age were you at this time?
20. I joined when I was 19. When I first started, I did not run high dosages. My first 3 or 4 cycles, they were not
Mhm.
high. And I still hit 250 at 19.
Yeah, so that's my question is
So
if you ran low dosages and you got like pretty fucking good gains,
Yeah.
why did you decide to just randomly like blast the gear?
Because I knew it would give me better gains. That's why.
There
and
you
that's,
go.
that's a fact.
Yeah.
You can't disagree with that. It's going to give you more gains, more muscle a lot faster, in which it did. It did put put on a lot of mass on me really quickly, and it leaned me out really
Yeah.
fast. I mean, I was on, the Reddit forum. I was a really avid poster, and I was probably, if not the best, if one of the best looking guys on there, and I was the youngest.
Would you agree, though, that it is more gear equals more gains up to a point?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I believe, this is what I think about it. If you want to look your best, run a dosage that's good for you where you don't experience negative sides. And you
Right.
can still train, eat, and make gains. And
Yeah.
most people, they think Tren is their answer because, I respond better mentally than most people, and it still fucks with me.
Mm-hmm.
But most people cannot handle even 200 milligrams of Tren for 6 weeks.
I don't think I could, bro.
I
I'm gonna
can
be honest.
handle 800 milligrams of Tren for 15 if I wanted to, without a doubt. Easy.
No, I think I would.
No
I think-
acne, no hair loss.
I'm pretty sure I would kill somebody, or I would kill myself.
No insomnia.
I would have severe mental.
What are y'all talking
effect.
about?
How he handles gear, and he was basically he said that when he first started, he was running low dosages, and then all of a sudden he comes out with these fucking insane cycles. And I said, well, if you made good gains on low dosages, what made you want to switch over to insane dosages? And he was like, well, I knew it would make me more gains more fast. Oh, what?
No, I'm listening.
Let's hear the shotgun.
No, I'm listening.
Do it into the mic.
I gotta wait a
Do
second.
it into the mic. No, you don't.
All right, cheers, guys. Hey, if you guys are maybe watching this on a Friday night with your boys, cheers.
Well, mine's only about half full, but I'll
maybe
trade it with you.
maybe we say here, take a little. Cheers, brothers. Hey, this one is to DTren on the pod. 3 month,
Yeah.
second
3 month hiatus.
3 month hiatus. Second take on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers. I might as well do it too.
Not into the mic, bro. Come on now.
All right, sorry about that, guys. A little
Sorry about that.
I wanted
little
to add-
hydration break.
I wanted to add to that. Another reason why I did that is I was looking at myself. I looked really big, but I was fluffy, and I looked at other bodybuilders. I'm like, wow, why don't I look like these guys?
But did you ever think to yourself, well, I've been training like 2 years and they've been training like 15?
Yeah, but I looked at other maybe younger bodybuilders, and I was like, why don't I look like these guys? So I do my research, and I stumbled across a YouTube channel called the Steroids Podcast by Dan, the bodybuilder in Thailand. And he was never really big in the industry. Shout out Dan. He's very informative.
You did that podcast, right?
Yeah, I did. He's a cool guy. Some people don't, he's a little on the extreme end of some things, but at the end of the day, he's a nice guy. He knows a lot. He's really smart. And he would talk about what pro bodybuilders run.
Mm-hmm.
They run grams of test. They run high dosages. They run multiple orals. They run high dose Tren, like it's test, Tren, Anadrol, or growth hormone, insulin. He would dive in every steroid, like to the T, not like Derek's stuff. He would actually dive in and say, I ran Tren this much. I know this guy ran Tren this much, and he's had a lot of experience. And it was like an awakening from like, wow, like I'm not running enough gear to look how I want to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that was true to this day. I wasn't running enough.
I do, just a
For
devil's advocate.
myself.
Just a devil's advocate. I think that even a lot of the pros run retarded dosages, and it's because they get told by their coaches,
Yeah.
and their coaches just prescribe retarded dosages. And I think that it's tried and true and proven that even pros can get away with lower dosages. And by that, I don't mean fucking TRT. Obviously, they're still running big amounts compared to the average steroid user, but you don't have to run like 10 grams of shit. You can get away with like 1 gram and still look really good.
Or 3 or 4.
I think
or
but you
1.
But you don't count the orals, so bodybuilders supposedly don't count their orals.
Really?
Yeah, that's a thing in the bodybuilding community.
I see.
Well, I was just throwing numbers out there.
I
was just saying, like, for example,
They'll run 3 or 4 grams, but not count the orals.
I think what people need to understand.
how would you get 3 grams of orals a week?
No, they run 3 grams of injectable, 3 or 4 grams of injectable, and they don't count the orals. So they throw the orals in there too.
Well, I'll be the lab rat here because I'll tell you right now, I am not going over 600 milligrams of gear per
I think
week when I do my prep.
For
And
you,
we'll see how I look.
I believe you look really great because I feel like you're more sensitive than most people in the sense that you are a hyper responder, but you get negative side effects faster than most people, such as myself, like hair loss, acne, hair growth. Well, I could run 2 grams of Tren and 2 grams of test right now. I will not lose a single ounce of hair, and I will not grow any more body hair on my body than I have right now, and I'll have no acne.
Do you do bloods often?
I haven't done them in a little while, but when I did even when I was on a high Tren, everything looked pretty good.
Really?
Except for my liver values were slightly like 20, 30 points out of range, which is nothing.
I think what people need to understand,
But it's not healthy. I'm not saying Tren is healthy. I had no side effects. You don't know what's really happening running a steroid like that for a long time because blood work just won't tell you everything.
And that's what I was going to say is I don't think people understand that when we say that everyone reacts different to steroids, we truly mean that.
Exactly.
Like everybody is going to have a different reaction. Like some people are going to react crazy off of a 300 test cycle and other people might not see shit. Mm-hmm. And they might break out in acne and fucking gyno and shit. So it's literally, bro, if you guys are looking up to us three and you're thinking, damn, I want to make it in this industry, let me take some gear. You guys truly need to understand that everybody's going to react differently. So when he's talking about dosages and stuff like that, those dosages are not for you. Those are for him.
Those are
and I will tell you right now, if I ran 1,300 milligrams of test and over a gram of Tren,
you'd be bald, bro.
I would be bald and dead in 1 week. I would be bald and dead. No, I wouldn't die, but I would be.
He'd be on the ICU, bro. We'd be filming vlogs. We'd be filming vlogs in the fucking
Listen, I have a strong feeling that if I ran even over 200 milligrams of Tren, I would have extremely bad blood work, and that is just a fact that I'm gonna have to accept when I do prep, because for maybe not the entire 12 weeks, but for like the last 4 weeks, I'm just going to have to accept that like I am very unhealthy for these 4 weeks and there's nothing I can do. And I know that genetically there's other people that exist that will be able to run the same stuff I'm running at even higher dosages and have better blood work.
Or less side effects.
Less side effects, better blood work, etc. I mean, I would say bad blood work is technically a side effect.
Of course.
You know? I mean, just look at you and I. I can run your dosages, or I can run my dosages and you can run yours, and I will look 10 times different from what he looks like.
Exactly.
And I will have 10 times
but you'll also have 10 times better bloods.
Right.
You'll have way better health.
We're going to look totally different, but our bloods are going to be totally different. I might have fucking acne. You might have hair loss. Like everything's fucking different.
Exactly.
And so people need to understand that it's like, yo, you guys DM us, and I'm sure you get more DMs than us.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking about running this cycle, blah, 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 XYZ. How the fuck is he supposed to know how you personally are going to react to this certain steroid?
Yeah, at the end of the day, what matters with bodybuilding and gear, you can do so much studies, look up so many, like data, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's experience and trial and application. That's the only way you'll really know.
Trial and error. That's what I tell people, bro.
You have to take steroids.
That's why I would say
how they work.
Listen, I just want to say something. All right.
Get off something.
I don't know what I want to say.
Get it off your chest.
All right. So there's some people out there that are listening that no matter what, they are going to run gear. There's nothing we can say that is going to stop them from running gear.
I don't advocate it, by the way.
I'm talking to those people right now. Whether they want to start gear tomorrow or whether they know they're going to start, maybe they're 18 right now and they know as soon as I turn 20, I'm going to start, whatever. Those people, I started gear, like real gear, actually properly cycling and not just taking dumb 2-week cycles of pro hormones when I was 20, about to turn 21. And I only took 200 milligrams of testosterone, which, for reference, if you wanted like proper TRT,
it's not shit.
It's not
shit.
For
reference, is not shit.
It's not shit. If you wanted proper like actual testosterone replacement, you'd take like 125. So I was taking like maybe twice the amount of a natural, which is not that much. I got gyno from that. I got gynecomastia. I got a little bit of hair loss. Like I did not noticeable in like when I looked at myself, but I would notice in the shower more hair was shedding. You could take 200 and that would literally be TRT for you.
I feel like, to be honest.
So I just want to finish. Wait, what?
I feel like if I took just 200 tests by itself, I feel like it would be less than my natural test.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sure. So some people just, when they inject, they just, I guess maybe they don't absorb as much or it doesn't metabolize the same way, whatever. But all I know is that when I took 200, I made great gains. I put on like 20 pounds of muscle in 6 months, which is really fucking good. But I got gyno. I reacted the same way as if DTren took like 5 grams of test in terms of my side effects. I was getting fucking gyno. I was getting some hair loss. I was getting a little bit of acne. And I had to stop. I had to switch over to DECA versus a lot of other people would be able to run 200 tests with no AI and they would be just fine. So think of it the same way. A lot of you guys have probably smoked weed before. Think about your friend, or maybe it's you, maybe it's your friend who reacts very badly to weed. They take like 2 hits and they green out and they get paranoid and they can't take anymore. And then maybe you smoke and you're fine. You can smoke like 4 bowls and you just get giggly. You don't feel paranoid, whatever. Steroids are the same way. So think about how differently weed treats everyone. You, Sush, you can smoke 5-6 bowls straight and you'll just get hungry and giggly and kind of like dopey.
Retarded.
But if I smoke 6 bowls straight, I will have a fucking breakdown.
Yeah.
I will have a literal mental breakdown. So you have to think of gear in the same way. If you take, just because someone else takes 500 tests and has no issues, if you take 500 tests, you might have really bad acne and you break out. You were just fine with gear, and then all of a sudden you took DECA and your fucking face exploded like out of nowhere. You just got a shit ton of like cystic acne and you had a baby face before. But you just need to keep that in mind. We're not just giving a disclaimer like, oh, by the way, we're not legally liable. We mean it. Everyone reacts differently. So you need to start, in my opinion, start with low dosages. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. You can up them. But if it does work, then you don't have to up them. They're working. So also, I just wanted to get back to this because you asked this a while ago. I don't think that you're at, this was like 30 minutes ago. I don't think that you're at pretty boy stage anymore. But I think when we first moved in, you were. But now I think, like, I'm pretty sure it's the gear has squared out your face. And if you guys go back and watch Sush's old videos, old YouTube videos from like late 2020.
Or just go back to my photos.
Yeah, and just look at his face over time.
Dude, even New Year's, like I remember looking at a post with New Year's with Weston when we were in Mexico. And I was like, damn, dude, like I look young. And it was only 3 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at videos from even me back last summer, and I've been training for 8 years. And my face just looked not completely different, but like noticeably different to myself. So anyway.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
When you hopped on here, did you age?
Oh yeah, look at DTren's old pictures.
Well, were you? So you're 21, just to be.
I'm probably I think I'm the youngest one here.
Okay.
I might be a bit older.
When's your birthday?
March. I might be a bit older.
No. I'm the
Sush
youngest.
is younger.
I'm the baby here.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm turning fucking 23, bro. I'm gonna kill myself.
Cheers to the baby.
I'm turning 23.
That's crazy. I'm turning 22.
Yo, this flavor.
Dude.
But,
I forgot.
In regard to
I hate getting old.
The facial changes.
I'm getting old, man.
I wouldn't say I look like old. Like I've aged like in an old man way. Like I didn't. It's not that I aged. I think it just masculinized my face.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If I saw you in public and I saw you and I didn't know you, I would be like, yeah, he's probably 27.
But wait,
I was
wait
gonna
till
say-
I shave my beard. Though.
Wait, look.
No,
at me.
but when you shave your beard, you're like 23, fucking handsome as shit.
Exactly. So I think the beard changes it. It kind of skews people's perception.
Yeah.
Because I've been able to grow a beard since I was 14.
Oh,
Full
so it's
beard.
not. I was gonna ask, could you always grow one?
Yeah, always. But it
I was gonna
not
say
as
if it was
thick
gear.
as it was
Same.
now. But I've had facial hair. I was like one of the first people growing up to have facial hair, and I had a full beard at 15. So that's not towards gear.
Fuck, dude, I'm Myron.
But it's
Yeah,
funny.
the thickest beard I've ever grown, like the longest I've ever grown it out, I had never taken a proper cycle.
But it's
I'd
funny.
never taken gear.
So when I was 18, when I was really lean and cut, I looked like I was 16 in the face without a beard.
When you were what?
18, natural. I
Really?
looked, yeah.
Well,
Even
yeah,
when I was
you
19,
had a much thinner face.
I had a very feminine face, like long eyelashes, big lips, big eyes, more smaller.
The model look.
I had I
Yeah.
could have been a model if I wanted to. Let's just say
Did you
that.
model ever?
I did one model shoot. That was it. My first time, I just did it super easy, but it wasn't for me. I wasn't into it. But what I will say is it has changed my face a lot, and even like my brow ridge and stuff like that. So it's made me look a lot more masculine. And most people would probably think that that's a bad thing. For me, it benefited me because like I said, I've gotten a lot more attention how I look now from women than I did when I looked like a supermodel. It's just, I don't know why. It's just how it is.
So I want to get off the gear talk because we've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
This is the last question I want to ask. So because we talked about this last podcast, but it got fucking deleted. Why? So what is your current cycle and why are you off trend? And this is going to be,
Okay, so I'm on 250 test. I've been on that for like maybe 13 weeks. I don't like running my tests high because I tend to bloat more. It makes me really big, but I hold a lot of water in my face, my stomach. I lose any kind of like definition. So it's not really for me. It makes me feel good though, really good, but I just don't like the look. And I was running Tren, Mastron, and DHB, but I accidentally threw the DHB out on accident, and I noticed the DHB was making me look really good, which is essentially it's like Primo times 4 dihydroboldenone. And once I threw that out, I noticed I started looking less full, less dry, and more flat on Tren and Mastron. So I upped my dosages to like 1200 Mastron. The last week I was on Tren and 1400 Tren, and I did not like how I looked. I looked really good to most people, but it just wasn't the look I wanted, and it was a lot of Tren. And I've always thought about, even before this last Tren cycle, I was thinking about not running it, like ditching it completely, but I couldn't get a good, cheap, quality source of Primobolan. So that's why I went with DHB, and I was going to mix them. But it started fucking with my nipples a lot, and Tren's always done that. Like, that's like the main side effect I'd get from Tren is puffy nips and like gland pain inside. Like, no matter what I did, Caber, crashing my E2, does not matter. It's just a progesterone. I'm very sensitive to progesterone, and it made me feel really depressed. Like, I would be in the gym just kind of staring off into the distance, like the opposite of what you think Tren would do. I was just very mellow, sensitive, and just kind of like depressed. Like, I just didn't care. My sex drive was gone. I had no sex drive.
Yeah, and you were telling me that 2 weeks prior to coming here, or like a week prior, you were coming off Tren.
Yeah, I came off. I just dropped it.
And you were like, "Oh, I don't know if they'll like me."
Yeah,
blah blah blah, speaking nonsense.
Yeah, literally a week ago, I got off Tren, and I knew I was going to get Primobolan, and I've always wanted to run it because that's Arnold's favorite steroid. That's Arnold. That's the look I want, the full round lean look. That's always what I wanted, but Tren just never gave me that. So I came off and got back on Primobolan. Been 2 weeks on that. Got back on DHB. About a week and a half on that, and I guess I was going through some hormonal changes, and I was just not in a good mood. For that one day, like maybe Wednesday, I was going to go to LA, and then I was going to go to Houston right after LA, like 3 days apart, and it was just too much for me. And I'm like, I just didn't go to LA, and I was thinking that night that before I was supposed to go to LA, like, and I don't even know if I want to be an influencer anymore. Like, I just kind of want to run away and hide and not be known. And I don't even know if I want to go to Houston. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that. Like,
So you said you didn't get paranoia, but that sounds like paranoia.
it is, but I wasn't on Tren anymore.
You were off.
I was off Tren.
It was just like probably
It was
just
a
a
negative
crazy
hormonal
hormonal.
change, yeah.
And I was like, I just don't want to do, like, I don't know if I want to do this. Maybe they don't like me, or like, fuck, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a drag to be around. Like, I don't want them to go there and be like a bummer. Be like, wow, this guy's kind of like negative or whatever, you know? And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, wow, what the fuck? Like, why was I feeling that way?
You've been
You've
been anything but negative.
I can say
you've been very like fun to be
that
around.
the minute that we met, it was exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And like my expectations were here, and he was here.
Yeah.
Like it was just perfectly, like exactly what I thought, because I knew you weren't gonna be how you are on TikTok, like, you know, the faces, the trend talk. I knew it wasn't going to be that.
Imagine he gets into your car, he's like, beta.
Yeah,
I
beta.
can smell you.
Smells like beta. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be that. I knew it was just going to be like a normal guy who, you know, takes gear. And it was just like, it was just the vibes were just perfect. So
Yeah.
I want to say that, because I didn't mention this last podcast, but it got fucking deleted, so I'll mention it now, that the minute that I met you, it was exactly what I expected. It was nothing that was like, it's almost weird to say, but it wasn't negative. Like, there was nothing negative. Like, as soon as I met you, I was like, this guy is fucking genuine. And like, because I mean, we could tell from Snapchats and like text messages and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that I knew you were genuine. But when I met you, it was just like that confirmation where I knew that you weren't gonna be a fucking weirdo, because a lot of people right now are fucking weird.
I mean, yeah, like at this point, we know enough to know that you shouldn't judge someone based on their fucking TikTok.
100%.
And as soon as we started talking personally, it was like, I'm pretty sure I just tagged you in something.
Yeah.
I thought you were either funny or maybe it was about Vical or whatever, and you were like very appreciative, and that was all I really needed to hear. And at that point, I knew like, okay, well, he's not like he is on TikTok, but I kind of knew that already, because who walks around like that?
Yeah.
Literally, like
I think
sniffing out the
it's
Stacy's
funny because
24/7.
it's like when I came here to see you guys on Tuesday, it's like you guys already knew me for so long. Like, I feel like right now, if I wanted to, I could move in right now, and you guys, it would just be like nothing.
And that's what I like about.
It's so weird. Like, it kind of shocked me. Like, I was like, man, are they that comfortable with me already? Like,
Yeah,
it was
well,
like, man,
I mean,
like, are they just? It almost was like, are they not interested? Like, I was like, damn,
Nah.
like, what the fuck?
just
like that.
to be fair, you cannot move into this house. Just to be fair, because there's too many. There's already
not
four.
saying I
already
will.
four.
I'm
No,
not
I
going
know,
out.
just fucking with you. But just to be fair, yeah. But I agree with you. It was almost just like I already knew you, and it was like, it was never an awkward moment where I was like, oh, like, should I say this or should I say that? Like, it was always just like the same. Like, bro, this
Yeah.
guy's the coolest fucking guy. Like, this is all I can really say.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
I mean, I would say I didn't really have any expectations coming in. Even when I like drove in, and I knew that you were sitting in the living room, and I was in the car, and I knew that I was going to walk in and see you. I wasn't thinking about what should I say,
we
what
do?
should I do, what's he going to say,
What's
what's
the
he
first
going
thing
to
we
do.
did
I kind of just, what's the first thing we did?
when we seen each other? When you had the In and Out in your hand, we gave each other a hug.
Did we?
Yeah.
Damn.
Little
When I,
Nah,
get,
you're
when
a
I had
dick.
In and Out?
Bro.
You're a
hug.
dick. You didn't remember.
Hey, listen, I'm fucked up, okay?
the bro hug. You look genuinely really excited to see.
Well,
me.
yeah, of course I'm going to give you a hug.
Yeah, but it's like
What am I
I
gonna
don't do
what am I
that.
going to fist bump you,
I
bro?
don't do that.
Oh wait,
to
we were
anyone.
baked. We were baked.
I don't
No,
do that
no,
to
he
anyone.
wasn't. You didn't
No,
smoke.
I
it.
was baked at the time.
No,
Nah, never
yeah,
mind.
well,
But I
of
don't
course I'm going to
hug.
give you a hug.
I don't hug people though.
You hugged me, brother.
Exactly, but I hugged you. So it's
Yeah.
like, that's just kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah, no, I mean, as soon as I walked in, it was just like, I didn't really think to myself anything. I wasn't like, what's going to happen? What's he going to say? What am I going to say? I was just like, oh, DTren's here.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's
And then I
DTren.
just walked in and you were there and I
And-
was like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. But it was like, I feel like when you talk to someone that much online, when you finally meet them in person, sure, it's a little weird to like physically see their face, but it's kind of like you already know them a little bit. So it kind of takes away that whole like getting to know you stage. It's like, I already know you. Now I'm just like seeing you in person. So that's cool.
And that's what I wanted to say is that when you see this person online and then we reached out to you, right?
You did.
So we reached out to you when you had about 15K followers on Instagram. And for us reaching out, it's almost like a, hey, we really fuck with you.
Yeah.
And I can tell what kind of person you are, because I knew you weren't that DTren persona that you,
Yeah. It was just
because there's no way that you can fucking act like that all the time.
No, you would burn,
Right.
burn the fuck out.
Exactly. Unless you're a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I reached out to you and we talked, and that was when I knew, like, that was just my confirmation, because I mean, I'm not trying to like act like I'm not trying to act like I'm above people, but I don't usually reach out to people like
you
that.
don't.
And so I reached out to you and a couple other people. Shout out Curtis Prince. I reached out to you. Love you, bro. But I reached out to you and I was like, yo, like, you're really fucking dope. Like, I like your shit. And then we started talking. I can tell what kind of person you were just through DMs. And then we went on Snapchat, and then we were talking about gear and stuff like that. And I knew exactly like what I was getting myself into. And it was like, it was totally different from from this like where the bait is at type shit, you know?
Yeah.
And it was almost like refreshing to be like, hey, I can tell from your content that you're not actually like this and you actually do care for a lot of people and the people that fuck with you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to reach out and fuck with you for that reason.
Yeah, and it made me really happy because I know you don't reach out to people really at all. Like you don't shout people out, but you would gladly shout me out. I never asked you to do that.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. I would always like post you on my stories.
Yeah, well, it was funny. Yeah, because like when I posted, I tagged you in something. I can't remember what it was, but I remember you responded and you were like very appreciative. And I looked at my phone and I was like, what? I don't know.
Like it was kind of like almost weird because no one does that. Like, no one probably appreciates or.
And it was weird to me because I wasn't thinking about it in that way. I didn't post it thinking like, oh, I'm shouting out DTren. He better be fucking appreciative.
Yeah.
I was just like, this guy's funny. I like him.
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah, and,
exactly.
Yeah. It made me happy. Like I was like, wow, like these are guys I've heard of for a while now and they're pretty big names. And for some reason they like me. And I was like, wow, like I feel pretty appreciative of that.
Wait, so what was your, because you only started about 8-9 months ago, right?
Yeah, I've only been on social media like that for about maybe 8 months.
So obviously Sush has been on TikTok for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Did you have any preconception of him before going into
we talked about it on the last podcast a little bit, but one of my friends.
You're supposed to keep that secret.
Yeah, you gotta act like we didn't talk about this.
Act like we didn't.
We
talk
gotta act
about
like
it.
we
Come
didn't
on
talk
now.
about this
Act
already.
like I never said that. I didn't say that.
He didn't say that.
You know
That's
the
the
drill.
Tren paranoia.
You know the drill.
And I was in a group chat with a bunch of Australians, and this guy lived next to me named Fredo. He was like 17, and he'd wear a lot of Young LA stuff. And this was like when I was 20, and he would stand on his tippy toes in photos, and he like dressed exactly like how you dressed. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why do you dress like that? I've heard of Young LA a little bit. And he's like, oh, I really love Sush. Like, I look up to him.
I will say, I'll just cut you off for a second. When you would stand on your tippy toes when we would take duos, I was like, bro, why the fuck are you doing that? You're already
Dude,
6'4".
it's only
I didn't
because
realize it was
You're
about the
showing off
calves.
It's only because I would do front double bicep, and when you do front double bicep, I already look really wide because I have a wide frame.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not just get a couple extra inches because I'm doing front double bicep?
Yeah.
It'll look fucking huge because you're already.
I thought it was about the calves, bro.
It's slightly about the calves because long guys, we have small calves. Well, you have small calves you have big
he has
calves
big ass
actually
calves.
because you walk on your calves.
Yeah.
You walk on your toes.
Surprisingly, most people think I have very small calves in my photos, but when people see me in real life,
No,
like,
he has-
wow,
he has
this
very
guy's
large
are
calves.
Right.
fucking huge.
I'd say they're like 18, 17.
No, probably 18 inches.
You think?
Almost. Maybe.
Big as my arm?
Maybe 17 and a half. But
I could see that.
what I was saying about Sush though is that I wouldn't say I was a hater, but I looked at him and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of how is this guy an influencer? Like, I look at big guys like Callum, you know, like Arnold, all these big bodybuilders, 250 pounds, 7% body fat bodybuilders that have competed and stuff, and I was like, how the fuck how has he gotten such a big audience? And I didn't know at the time it was because of your personality. I didn't really understand that that's what you needed to have. I thought you could just look good.
Yeah.
Look like a badass.
And no,
People
you
would like
can.
You can.
You just
can.
look
There
good.
are still some people that just look good, and that's their entire brand.
But I want to say this. Once I actually met Sush, it was totally different. Like, he changed my initial thoughts, when I actually met you and talked to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe without a doubt, like, you started the new wave of influencer. Like, you started that. Like, you were the first one to do that, like how you did it, on TikTok, and not needing an insane physique, but actually having a genuine connection with your fans. In return, your fans paid you back because of their appreciation of
Right.
you. And it's so much bigger than all these other bodybuilders that are probably way more advanced than us, but they just don't have a personality. They don't reach out. They don't talk to their fans, and they don't have the connection. And you were doing that, and you still do that,
Yeah.
So I kind of learned that from you, a little, like, subconsciously, and I applied it with my own fans because I just enjoyed doing it. But you were the one that started, I believe, the new wave of influencer, whether you want to believe it or not.
No, and I want to say thank you for saying that, because usually I don't like to like boast about something like that. but you know, I got a few in me, so I might as
Go
well.
for it, bro.
But I was just gonna say that, like, I definitely see the impact that I have had on, like, you know, it's almost like we're in the middle stage where there's influencers above us and there's influencers below us, and they're like trying to come up. And I definitely do see the influence that, you know, that part of me has, like, hey, that's like it's just like stems from me almost.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like it's tough for me to ever say something like that because it is kind of like arrogant, and it's being like, hey, like, you're only doing that because I did that like a year ago.
I mean,
type of
yeah.
thing.
I mean, but I think it's safe to say, even if you're not solely responsible for starting that, I think it's fair and kind of objectively true to say that you played a big role.
I would say,
Even if you weren't the sole reason.
I would
you
say
know?
Sush, without a doubt, did start it. Because I don't know any other kind of influencer before you that was doing that had such quality of fans.
And you said this last time,
The cult
the
kind of.
average-
quality,
Yeah.
but you
versus
Wait,
quality.
what do you? Yeah. Cult, like the cult.
The cult too, but the quality of fans. You know, you have a very strong cult-like following, but your fans are very, you know, they're very great fans. They're very appreciative of you versus someone maybe who's bigger, that have tons of fans, but they don't have a connection with them. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we love this guy, but we can't really relate to him. We're just going to look up to him like a god.
Yeah.
Sue, she was like, wow, like I could really relate with him. I wake up and I do the same thing he does, or
Yeah.
I think just like him, or I feel just like how he does. And they related to that. And that's why you've had so much success. Like, how many bodybuilders do you see, not to brag or to throw it out there, that, you know, have a nice car or that drive a Lamborghini? You know, like, how many aren't doing that? A lot of
Yeah.
bodybuilders and influencers, you know, even if they may have a bigger platform. So it just shows you.
Did you see Jay Cutler's lineup? He's got a pretty sick. Did you see his reel?
No, does he have a lot of cars?
They're fucking nuts.
Well, that's
Yeah.
Jay Cutler's.
I know, but like, look at that. That's 4-time
true.
Mr. O
That's true.
versus like TikTok guy. You know.
That's true.
So I mean,
And that's what I wanted to say, just to cut you off, because I have this thought on my mind, is that people, you know, if anyone's watching this that is like thinking about influencing stuff, the main reason why I think that, all right, I've never said this on the podcast or said it at all, actually, but I'm kind of thinking about it now. The main reason why I think that I am, you know, so a lot of people engage on me and like they fuck with my shit is because even like stories and like Snapchat stories and Instagram stories, it's almost like I just post it because like only my friends would see it. It's almost like all of my stories are like what you would see on someone's close friends or like my friends only on Snapchat, where it's like, it's just shit that personally only I would really like. But then people notice that and they're like they're looking at that and being like, yo, I like that too. Or I look up to you because you're only posting that because other people are going to maybe not fuck with it, but they're going to like see it. And so it's, if that makes sense, it's almost just like they're looking at me as in I'm just trying to be myself, if that makes sense. Where it's like when I post these stories and when I post these Snapchat and these stupid little like TikToks or shit like that, where to the normal person, they're looking at it and they're like, yo, this guy's a fucking idiot or whatever. But really, I'm just trying to, like, I'm not trying to fucking take shots at anyone. But when I almost look at my stories, like stories, for example, or like my post, for example, when I post up a spontaneous post, it's like I don't see anyone else really doing it because I think that with my following, I can kind of post whatever I want and people fuck with that. Yeah, and they're going to fuck with that. So when other people try to, I mean, no one really does it. And honestly, I think people should more do that. It's like, yo, if you see like a fucking something that you like, just toss it up on your story, bro. Because then they're going to be more inclined to be like, yo, he likes this. I'm finding more about his personality.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
But
no,
I think the reason that I
But you get what I'm trying to say. Sorry,
I'm a
little fucked up.
No,
dude, so
and
I'm like,
I get what you're saying. It's kind of just like, oh, that's cool. Boom, put it on my story.
Yeah.
Like you don't think about, oh, what implications could this have? And I do that sometimes if I'm in the right mood, but sometimes I don't. And this is, I guess maybe it's not something I need to work on, but it's something I've noticed is that maybe it's because I was very technologically limited as a kid because my dad is 74 years old now. He banned me from having video games until I was old enough to buy it on my own, which, $400 for an Xbox doesn't sound like much, but at the time that was like a shit ton of money. I couldn't just buy that on my own. So I never really had a video game stage. I didn't even get a smartphone until I was like 14 or 15. So I'm not used to kind of just posting my life. Like every single thing I see, my gut instinctual reaction is not to take a picture of it. Yeah. So now that I'm like in the social media space, I'm much more inclined to just enjoy the moment, quote unquote, and make a memory and have fun.
Yeah.
But there's no social media footprint of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I have to remind myself, hey, your followers want to see this too. They want to keep up with you. So come on, like take pictures, remember to post. So it's something that I have to like consciously remind myself of is like, hey, you know what? Other people might be interested in this too.
Yeah.
Because I get so absorbed in the moment, especially when it's something very stimulating and like engaging to me, that I don't even think that other people would even care. I'm just like, yeah, I'm having fun right now.
Yeah.
And
it's like, all right, it's like to go back on that, like how Sue says, oh, I will post what I like, what I enjoy. And it goes back to your quality of fans. Your fans appreciate you so much that they want to know you. They want to know what you like. And an example is my fans. Like, what kind of haircut do my fans have or ask for? The mullet. They always ask me, I don't know if you've seen it, like, what kind of hairstyle do you have? Mm-hmm. They want the DTren mullet, or what kind of music do you listen to? Klaus Veen. Like, oh, you hear these guys playing these songs. What's your Spotify? Or how do you dress? What kind of bracelets do you wear? Where do you get that stringer? Every time I wear a stringer, someone asks where I got it. Like, where do you get that? Or talking like me. You see my fans make the face videos and talking like me. Like,
do they actually? Do they do them?
I've seen probably over 500 of them. I shit you not. And
that's funny.
It's like they can relate to me. They could feel like they're me. So they feel so much closer to me. They can listen to the same music I listen to. They could have maybe the same haircut. They can dress the same. They can maybe act how they think I act. And in return, it's like they have such a deeper connection to me because I'm someone that I also feel like I throw what I like out there and my fans eat it up. So that's what I've noticed, and my fans are amazing. They're very great. Like I have a huge cult following, and it's like I'm extremely appreciative of them. But like I've noticed that myself too. Like my fans want to be just like me. They want to have the lines in the eyebrow. They want to have the lines in the side of the head. They want to have the mullet. They want to take Tren. Not that they should. They want to be jacked. They want to be 250 lean. They want to get all the Stacy's on their Johnson tip, They talk like that. Like there's so many people, like I've seen my fans so many times talk like that. They even talk like me to that degree. Or they have me as their profile picture. I've seen like 300 of them. Not to brag or put it out there, but it just made me think like that's exactly what my fans do. I think that's why I've had so much success. It's because I've put myself out there. And when I was younger, I had an issue doing that because I was more insecure. Like, oh, people might not like me or whatever. And when I came on TikTok, it was like I was broke. I had no money. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do whatever I want to do.
Doesn't matter.
If people don't like it, fuck them. I don't care anymore. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
It's either it's going to happen or it's not. And I'm not going to give up on this. I will keep going even if I'm dead broke in achieving my dreams. So it's like, I have nothing to lose. I can say and do whatever I want. And that's exactly what I did. And that's how it's all paid off because I just stopped giving a fuck at all. Like my music. Some people don't even like sharing the music to the people. If you've noticed that, like they're so like nervous about doing that. And you see someone that has no issue doing that. It's like they appreciate it. They can feel that much closer to
their music, like when they make their own music.
No, like a playlist.
Playlist.
Like
Oh,
like what they listen to.
People don't understand is that
well, it's because the music that you listen to is kind of an extension of who you are as a person.
And they want people, fans, and all that. Your followers. At the end of the day, they just want to be close. They want to feel close to you. They want to have a connection.
You know,
That's why a lot of other influencers that don't do that don't have a strong fan base, or they burn out because they don't have that connection. That's why Sush, when I say he created that new influencer, that's what I mean, is that he developed a very strong connection, even though he didn't have 2-3 million followers on fucking Instagram. The 130 or 40, 50 that he had all felt connected to him and all were very loyal to him. And that's way better than having 3 million with only 10% being loyal to you.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of these big influencers, not that they're listening, but listen, if you could take one thing from this, it's like you're not going to please everybody. And so when you're trying to please everybody, you're not going to please no one. So I can guarantee you right now, like, yo, these big companies and whatever, they're paying you a hefty salary, but you're going to build a better connection with your people, in turn get better commission with them using your codes and supporting you personally when you actually put out and like show them what you want to show rather than trying to please everybody. Like it's almost like half chubbing it. Like it's almost like going halfway with like everybody versus going 100% with 50%.
Yeah. The thing
everybody.
is there's certain people, because you have to think like having a cult is only, it's limited. This sounds geeky, but it's a limited scalability. You can only scale a cult so much. You can't have a cult following of like 1 billion people, right? But you can have, it's kind of unscalable in terms of how much you can build a superficial quote unquote following. And I'm not saying I agree with this at all, but I think what happens with some influencers is that they get such a big following that companies start paying them out the ass. And that's what they get used to, is they don't really care about commission. They're kind of in a completely different headspace than us, because with us, it's more like the more I am myself and the more I push my code, the more money I make, the more successful I am. But I think with some of these bigger influencers in terms of their followings, that part doesn't really matter as much, because the actual number on the screen is what matters to certain companies, which I think is stupid. If I were to start my own company, which I have, I would never care about the number on the screen. But a lot of these companies do, because they're stuck in like 2012. And these influencers kind of feel like they have a muzzle on them because they can't say certain things. And I'm not going to name names, but there's certain companies that have a lot more creative control over what you do and don't post, versus a company like Young LA, where I can literally say whatever the fuck I want, or especially like Gorilla.
Close to it.
Like I can say whatever the fuck I want, and I know I'm not going to get dropped from Gorilla. But a lot of these other companies, it's like, this is this person's livelihood. It's how they pay. In some cases, they have kids. It's like how they're feeding their kids. So in their head, it's a toss-up between, well, I can be more authentic and it would probably make me happier, and I would like that a lot more. I wish I could just fucking speak my mind. But I have a wife to feed, or I have kids to feed. So then it's like, well, I guess I'll just stay superficial.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good that we've kind of nipped that in the bud early on, because we haven't gotten caught in that trap. Yeah. But I think a lot of other influencers kind of get caught in this downward spiral, this trap, where they start getting salary over commission. They care more about numbers than about actual authenticity. And then they fall into the trap of being muzzled more and more and more over time. Because I've had certain big influencers. Again, I'm not going to name names. I'm not here to fucking drop names, but I've gone on rants on my story about things that are very hotly debated and like very political things that could get you dropped from a company. And I've had big name influencers DM me and say, "Thank you for saying this." And I'm thinking to myself, well, why don't you say it? But then it's like, well, I know why you don't say it, is because you would get dropped from your company.
Yeah.
So when these big name influencers reach out to me,
Gymshark,
and it's happened on multiple occasions, it's not just one person, but when they reach out to me and say, "Thank you for saying this," and I know, because I've met them in person, and I know that they agree with me on a personal level, but they're not willing to say it themselves, I know why. It's because they don't really have a choice. They're going to get dropped if they do. So I get it, but I'm just very glad that we haven't fallen into that trap.
Yeah, in terms of like, I'd say I was more superficial when I started TikTok versus now. Like, I say I was a bit more arrogant and maybe not as like caring. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm gonna do and say what I want. And if you say something stupid, I don't have any remorse for you. I'll say whatever I want to you. That's how I was when I first started. I don't care who you are. You could be David Lade. Nothing against David Lade, but you know, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't say anything. Yeah. Or just you could be one of my fans or not one of my fans, and I would say whatever I want. But over time, as I got more, popular and more people know me now and more people are appreciative of me, it's humbled me a lot more, and I feel a lot more genuine now because of being humbled, because my fans really look up to me. They want to see more of me, and I've changed people's lives, whether I've realized it or not. They tell me that, and I think that's an amazing thing to be able to do. Like, even today we were in the gym. One guy walked up to us. He was like, "You changed my life. Changed my life. Like, I don't even think I'd be in the gym right now without you." And he was so nervous talking to me. And I walk around every day like a normal guy. I'm a normal dude. People know me as DTren, but at the end of the day, I'm Dawson. Like, I'm just myself. Like, I feel like that. And this guy here is so nervous to talk to me that it's like, I try to comfort him as much as possible, but like, these people really have a lot of emotion connected to me. And so it made me more humble in the sense that I need to make more content for them and not care about haters or anyone else. Or what do I have to prove? I have nothing to prove. Yeah. People already know who I am. They know I have a fan base. They know I have a bigger platform. So it's like paying back to my followers, because at the end of the day, I'm nothing without my followers. I'm nothing. I tell them that all the time. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. And that's very true. If I had my fans all turned on me, I would have nothing. Yeah. And I 100% will take that to my grave. So that's why if you read my comments on TikTok, how many comments do I respond to? A lot. Like, sometimes I've even replied to like 150 comments on a video. Like, just reply. And I talk to my fans as much as I can. So it's like, you guys are giving me this life. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So what's the best way I could repay that to you? With my time. That's the way I see it. That's what I've done. And I feel like that's what's made me so successful in such a short amount of time, in 8 months, with such a solid fan base, because they feel
time,
like they really
but
know
also
me.
Time is one of the things, but also staying who you are, because you have to remember,
or improving.
You have to remember what got you to this point, and what got you to this point was not caring what other people said.
Exactly.
So as soon as you start saying, well, maybe I shouldn't say this, maybe I should say this, because I think these people might think a certain way about it, then all of a sudden you're becoming less of what made people love you in the first place so much, which was the fact that you unabashedly spoke your mind about anything you wanted.
And I feel like, in the sense, I don't think my fans don't. I mean, I'm not saying I think about what people say as much more. Like, I don't filter myself still. Mm-hmm. It's just I try to be more focused on my actual fans and making them feel good, and making content for them.
Instead of the haters.
Instead of responding to haters.
Yeah.
I'm putting more of my energy into the people that actually care about me and support me versus the people that don't. I try my best to do that. And I feel like that's what they appreciate the more that I'm doing that. And I'm more genuine with them.
Yeah.
Instead of a character. I mean, I could bring the character out anytime, but how many times do people actually get to really know, like, these influencers and stuff, and actually feel connected to them? Not very often. So that's what I try to do. I try to be as genuine as possible with them. Like, yeah, I get insecure I get insecure or nervous talking to women. Even me. Like, I'll talk to a girl and I get nervous. Even if I like her, or
most guys,
if I don't. And
almost every guy does on the planet.
People are like, that's no way. That would never happen. And I'm like, yeah, or I get nervous just in general. Or I get shy sometimes, and I get, like, around when I first met Sush, I was a little bit nervous. Or even one of my fans. I worked out with one of my fans on Saturday, who I talked to here and there just to do it. And I was nervous meeting him. It's like, why am I nervous? He's the one that should be nervous. I told him, I was like, man, I felt nervous meeting you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like we all kind of get nervous talking even to fans that come up. I still get nervous because
people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I get nervous because they've seen me online and I'm thinking in my head that they hold me to the standard. So as I'm talking to them, I'm like, well, like I only got 5 hours of sleep last night and I'm not really in the best mood, but I've got to be uppity for them because they hold me to this standard.
Yeah.
So like I've got to be in a good mood. And then I think about it and I'm like, it's so funny. They have no idea that I'm like getting nervous talking to them and they're probably really nervous
You're
talking
just
to
a
me.
human being.
Yeah.
Like, we're all just human beings. And I try to talk to my fans how I would talk to anyone. So like how I'm talking to you guys, how I talk to them too. Like it's no different. Like that's what I try to portray more now than just my character, which people can't relate to. It's entertaining, but they can't relate to that. And that's what one thing Sush told me when I asked him, like, hey man, like, am I what you thought I was? And you're like, honestly, you're like halfway, but you're more relatable than what I thought you were. And that's what stuck out to me.
Well, I think that's probably why you getting on YouTube is so good.
Exactly.
Because I think TikTok, and this is part of the reason that I'm not a big fan of TikTok, is it kind of forces you into a certain type of content. And that type of content is very in your face, flashy, edgy, offensive, whatever. Anything that grabs people's attention super quick. And I'm just not really that type of person because it almost in a way forces you to be inauthentic, even to a small degree, because you're time constrained. Versus with YouTube, you can sit there and be fucking stupid for 3 minutes straight and just like speak your mind about some dumb shit. And you don't feel the need to be super energetic in anyone's face. And I know that I've done plenty of videos where I'm kind of more low energy. And I've also done plenty of videos where I'm in a better mood and I'm higher energy, but I never feel this kind of time constraint where it's like, oh, I've got to be super like awake and energetic, Yeah. So that's why I've always been a bigger fan of YouTube. And I know like TikTok is great and I should probably get on it, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just not a big fan of it for that exact reason. It's too preying on people's short attention span.
Yeah. And I agree. When people watch my YouTube, they're like, wow, he's a totally different person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's how I really am.
Yeah.
Life. You just
exactly.
I just couldn't show that to you as best as I could on YouTube.
Yeah. How are you? Or you mean TikTok?
Yeah. Like I couldn't, like people when they see my YouTube and they watch my TikToks, like he's like two completely different people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how are you going to sit here and talk about like anything worth talking about is going to take at least a few minutes.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's just like people get to see you for who you are. And that's kind of hard to do on TikTok because,
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Is
like anything worth talking about that's really like important, it's probably going to take a few minutes to talk about. And on TikTok, you're usually limited to like 15 seconds to 1 minute.
Yeah.
So it's like, it kind of forces you into this space of like talking about stuff that it may be an important topic, but you just simply don't have enough time to talk about it.
I agree.
So that's why I prefer like the longer form stuff, especially the podcast where we can just kind of sit here and like talk about whatever for kind of as long as
people
want.
Get a good grasp of who you really are.
Yeah.
Your personality,
And it's just, it's too mentally taxing to keep up with not doing that for an extended period of time. It's like, this is fucking, I can't do this anymore.
I agree.
I just want to be myself,
All right. So I have some questions for you before we end this.
Bring them on.
These are questions from people who are following the MogCast Instagram, so go ahead and follow that if you want to question the guest for next time. But, so this guy asked, tips for a 17-year-old wanting to make it in the fitness industry. If you get like one tip for him, one big tip.
If I could give one tip for him, I
I'm
would
gonna pee
say
real quick.
stick to your plan A of becoming someone in the industry. So even if you don't have a set goal of how you're going to do it, like me, I didn't have a set goal. Make your life and everything, you want to do in your life to be an influencer. Okay. So do whatever you feel is necessary to keep reaching that goal, whether it's working in a gym more or whether it's making content. Keep striving to get there no matter what. Even if you're dead broke, you don't stop doing it. That's what I did. So do not have a plan B. A lot of people will have one plan. I want to be this. 6 to 8 months, it doesn't work. They don't get the results. And they're, okay, now I want to do this. Or, oh man, I did this for 6 months. Now I want to do this. Or now I'm going to go to college. Or now I'm going to do this. It's like, no. You stick to your plan, whether it's whatever you want to do. Because that's how you get stuff done. That's how you make the best results. You keep going. You don't give up. Because, you give up, you're not going to reach it. But if you get knocked down, you get right back up.
Yeah.
That's what exactly happened to me.
No,
so that's the best advice I could give anyone. And I learned that from Arnold. People might be like, that sounds a little familiar. I learned that from Arnold. Stick to plan A. Do not have a plan B.
Yeah.
I never had a plan B. Even when I was 18, I said, I'm going to be an influencer, even if it kills me. I will not stop. I will be in the fitness industry, even if it kills me. And people just looked at me like I was stupid, like I'm crazy. You're never going to make it. You're delusional. I said, well, you need to be a little bit delusional to be someone special. So that's the best advice I could give someone regarding that.
No, that's fucking solid. Honestly, don't have a fucking plan B.
Don't.
Because it's not going to work if you truly know in the back of your mind, like, hey, I could really fall back onto this if this doesn't work out.
You have a safety net.
It's fucking stupid.
You don't need a safety net. You work better without one.
All right, this is a little bit of a more goofy one.
Yeah, I get a lot of those.
So this guy's saying, so he wants to lose his virginity. Okay. Should he just fuck a random hoe or should he just wait? So he's saying, should I fuck a thought or wait for someone I actually like to lose my virginity?
I believe.
Well, first of all, it's also, at the end of the day, it's your personal opinion.
It is. Yeah, I believe personally you should have sex with a girl you actually like, not just a random hoe. And when I mean like, I don't mean like, oh, I want to date her forever. Just a girl you actually enjoy being around. That a girl you could, connect with and have a connection with and feel some kind of empathy with and feel, good around. Not just some girl you meet at a party, especially if it's your virginity.
I agree with that, but I also disagree because it depends how you are as a person. If you want to just fucking lose it, then yeah, dude, hop on Tinder or go to a party and just wheel a bird.
It definitely.
It depends. It depends on all the persons. So like, if one person is like, "Hey, I'm more into more intimate things," then you shouldn't lose it to some random hoe. But if you're really not, if you really don't give a fuck, then dude, it shouldn't matter.
Think about it like this. So
you have to make a decision yourself.
We all remember the first person, but we might not remember the 10th or the 15th or the 8th or the 20th.
Yeah.
So do you want that first person to be a prostitute? Or
I wouldn't go as far as a prostitute.
Well, some guys do that. Or a girl at a club, a party that was drunk and was not what you were really into, but you decided, okay, I'm going to do it. Or would you want it to be a girl that you actually enjoyed being around?
Yes, but I would say, to devil's advocate, there's some guys that they just want to lose it. Like, it gets to the point where they get to the age where they're like, all their friends have lost it. I'll read through these in a second. All their friends have lost it.
Yeah.
And are you peeing?
Yeah.
And they're like, I think it's also different for a guy versus a girl.
Definitely.
I mean, it's easier for a girl to lose her V card.
Way easier.
But with guys, there's definitely a social pressure. And I think for a lot of, maybe not a lot of them, but there's some guys where it gets to the age where it's like, okay, perfect scenario, it would have been nice to lose it to the right person. But at this point, I'm X amount of years old. All my friends have lost it. And I think that it gets to a point where it becomes a mental block in their head. Definitely. Where it's like the biggest thing that they're focused on. And they're like, you know what? I just have to lose it to lose it. And I think in that specific scenario, once they finally lose it and they realize what sex is, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then it becomes easier after that point, but it's kind of like getting over that initial hump. I was lucky enough where when I lost my V card, the girl that I lost it to was also losing hers. Like we took each other's virginity, but I could definitely like relate to that, or I could empathize with that scenario of being like, damn, it's kind of like it's kind of like having your man card to lose your V card, you know? And it's like, I feel like less of a man if I don't have it.
Yeah, and it's like most of my fans would probably think like, oh, just like knowing me, like DTren would say just fuck anything or just go for anything, you know? Most people that would probably guess. But I actually go against that and I say, even if you are a virgin and your friends have lost it more than you, don't let that make you rush anything. Just what I could say for the best advice is gain experience with women, and it doesn't have to be just sex.
Yes.
So talk, put yourself out there.
Talk to women. That's
actually
the biggest thing.
Interact. Stop watching pornography.
Yes.
Stop jacking off.
Quick side note: I came back in here and I just decided to look around the room, and I noticed you had your toes out.
Yeah, I do. I do have my toes out.
He's got his bare toes out.
I do.
Damn.
I'm like that.
You're like that?
That's crazy,
I'm
bro.
like
fucking
That's
savage.
crazy. That's
I keep
savage.
my toes are always out.
I'm fully kitted right now, bro.
I
with the
usually
shoes and
I
everything.
never wear shoes out in public either. I'm always wearing sandals like that.
Always displaying the toes to the public?
Yeah.
A fucking beast of a man.
That's
Just
crazy.
I don't know why. It's just why I don't really like wearing shoes that much. But to go back to that really quick, just talk to as much women, be around as much women as you can. But actually enjoy. Don't just think about sex. Enjoy. Just have a fun time.
Yeah.
You know, don't just think, oh, I gotta have sex. Don't look at them as just sex, because that's gonna turn them off. You know, and a lot of guys,
Because they can sense it.
They can't. A lot of guys, they don't do well with women because they just don't listen to them. They just don't actually interact with them. They just treat them like a sexual object, and that's it. And you know, as much as we can joke about that, that's not how it really works.
Yeah. And like,
because women don't like being treated like that. Neither do men.
especially when you go if you go to talk to a girl and you're inexperienced and you go into it with the expectation of, I'm going to get her or I'm going to get with her, a lot of guys will kind of be half listening to what she's saying, but they're already thinking of the next thing they should probably say that will like get her going.
Pickup lines.
But it's like, no, just shut the fuck up and just listen to her.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to constantly think of the next thing you're going to say. Just listen to her and then organically
focus on her.
Focus on her and then organically think of like what comes to your mind. Like
make her feel like she's the only person in that room.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it should be. Like,
but it's not.
If I know, but if you think about talking to another dude and you actually want to talk to them, that's how you talk to them.
Exactly.
You actually listen to them and then organically talk to them.
Like
so it's just coming to learn that it's exactly the same for women.
If you treat them like a person, then you'll actually get laid.
And it's silly because that sounds like so self-evident, but it's such a big problem for guys is that they're constantly thinking of like the next fucking pickup line.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, relax. Just talk to them. Don't go in with the expectation that you're going to bang them.
Yeah, women are very emotionally driven. Okay, so you need to have some kind of emotional connection there most of the time, or make them feel some kind of way. And a lot of guys have a lot of success in areas like the workplace or like areas like school where there's a lot of women around them all the time. And the reason why is because they're always interacting with them. They're in the same environment. So all you have to do is literally talk to women. That's all you have to do. Just talk to them, and you'd be surprised.
But I don't know how to talk to women. But it's
just
so scary.
Just do it.
Just treat them like your homie. Treat them like your sister.
Exactly.
Talk to them like your fucking sister.
In that case, it's like, it's because the reason why guys don't know how to talk to women is because they have a chronic disposition to going into every female interaction with the intent of fucking.
Exactly.
At the end of the
that's
day,
not realistic.
It's like, what am I going to gain from this?
Yes.
What am I going to gain from this?
You have to like delete that, like entirely delete it.
And that's
like,
why I also
just
say
literally talk to them.
Don't watch pornography or really scale down on it, because pornography, at least with me, made me like that in high school to the point they were only like sexual objects to me.
Yeah.
And I was an attractive dude, and I had a girlfriend during the time as well, but it messed with my interactions with them just in general because I couldn't talk to them. because I wouldn't really listen to them. I wasn't actually paying attention to them. So that's why when I stopped watching that stuff, my interactions and success with women tenfolded, like insanely high.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I'm
I
not
would-
bullshitting you.
If you want to go a little further than that, I think you could compare a lot of these female Instagram models with a shit ton of followers that guys follow just because they're hot and they post very raunchy pictures. You could compare that to softcore porn. So it's like unfollow those girls. Seriously. You have no reason to
Bro,
follow them.
that's what I
except
did.
eye candy.
You don't
Did.
to unfollow them, but I mean, like
Why
this.
not?
You can't. I'm just saying about like this. You're not gonna have any kind of interaction. She doesn't give a flying fuck about you. So, why are you following her?
Exactly. And
what are you getting
that's
out
the
of
point I'm making. And most of these guys know that they're not going to have any, like, if you follow some female model with 1 million followers, these guys know that they're not going to DM them. They're not going to even shoot their shot, because the only reason they follow them in the first place is just because it's nice to look at on their feed.
Exactly.
But it's like, by nice to look at, you're automatically grouping her into sexual object territory.
Yeah.
So it's like, what really are you gaining out of that besides a very small dopamine hit? Like,
Exactly.
really nothing. You're just hurting yourself in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, honestly, I was just responding to, I haven't looked at any of these. I was just
Here, let me
responding to
see.
that question.
Let's do
No, because there's a few.
I know Sue's found some good ones.
But yeah, I do think with women, it is, when it comes to losing their V card, it's a bit more important in terms of who it is and the kind of connection that they have to them. I think with men, it's also important, but I think men can much more easily get trapped in this constant cycle of, they get in their own heads, which makes them worse at talking to women, which makes them less successful with women, which makes them get in their own heads more, and it's this constant cycle. So eventually, if you get to that point and you're in like your mid-20s or something, like, you just got to break out of it, and it's just like, well, I'll just fuck anyone. And then once you finally do it, you're like, oh, that's what sex is, and then eventually you can actually like meet the right girl, you know?
All right. So somebody asked, what clicked for you that made you realize you wanted to do more with your life?
I've always kind of been that way since I was like 13. Just something in the back of my head I was like, I knew I was going to be someone special, like, in the back of my head. I'm not saying I held myself higher than other people, but I'm naturally a very competitive person. And I just always felt it inside of me, like, I'm going to be someone special. It's just going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And I've always had that, but in reality, people would tell me the opposite. They would treat me the opposite growing up. You're a loser, or you're stupid, you're a drug addict, you're a nobody, you're weird, So I've always told that growing up, and it was like a conflict going on in my teenage years and a little bit before that. All these people were telling me this when I felt like this, and it made me feel bad, to the point where, like, I was always really angry and depressed, and I hated people for a while because of how they made me feel. I just always wanted to be accepted when I was younger. I wanted friends, but I never had it. People wouldn't give me the time of day for some reason. And they treated me like I was a loser. And I just wanted, to be accepted. I wanted to have fun, talk to people, and I never really got that. Very, very seldom. But what I realized what clicked is when I was at my very lowest point. It was like 16 or 17. And I just looked at myself and I was disgusted at what I became at 17. Like, I hated everything about myself. My face, everything, how I looked, how I talked, everything. I hated myself. I didn't even want to look at myself in the mirror. I was disgusted by it. And it was because of what I became. And deep down, I knew I could be better than what I was doing. I had way more potential.
So there's a mismatch between I always knew I was going to be special versus what I actually am.
It was
You know?
more so what people made me feel like.
Yeah.
And then I started acting.
But
of what
also
they
you
portrayed me
kind
as.
of were self-admittedly like a loser for a while.
I wouldn't.
Like
I
just
wouldn't
played
say,
video games all day,
I
ate
was-
fast food all day.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was ever a loser. You know, I would feel like I was always very talented, very competitive, really good at sports. Always excelled.
I don't mean not talented. I don't mean
But
not.
like, yeah, you could say I was the description of one. But
Yes, exactly. That's
never-
exactly what I mean.
I never felt like that inside.
Yeah.
Even if I was doing that, I still held myself above that in
Yeah.
my mind, no matter what. And
And
even,
well, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's probably why you hated yourself,
but
is because you held yourself to a higher standard than that.
and it was because of how people made me feel. And I eventually became, of all the assumptions they said I was, I became that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was tired of it. I was fucking tired. I didn't want to be a loser. I didn't want to be a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go down as that. And everyone my entire life treated me like that. Even some of my family. And it sucked. Like being the one in the family known as the underachiever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm making a change. I don't care. Around 17 or 18, I said, I'm going to do this. And I cut off all the people in my life that I didn't need anymore. I stopped doing stupid shit, stopped smoking weed as much, stopped watching pornography, applied myself in school a bit more, started going to the gym, working out, started reading a little bit more, stuff I liked, like psychology. And
Like
having,
what
I-
books stuck
I
out
didn't
to you?
necessarily read books. I just read studies online. Just look
Mm.
at them and just binge read them.
Mm-hmm.
But I eventually had a role model. I found myself a role model. And who was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger was my role model. And I looked at him and I was like, wow, you know, like I would love to be like him. I would love to live that life. Look how confident he is. Look how good he is with women. Look how like people respect him and admire him, and how he conquered every single thing. And he started out at nothing, an immigrant, poor. And I was like, if he could do that, and he was like me, shy when he was younger and insecure and maybe not naturally the best at things, I was like, I can do it too. Who says I can't do it? So I looked at these guys and I was like, I'm going to be like them. Everyone's like, no, you won't. And I was like, watch me. If they can do it, I can do it. So that was when everything clicked. And that's one reason why I decided to hop on steroids. I didn't just hop on them because I didn't give a fuck or it was stupid. I had a plan. This was an investment. Right the day I hopped on, even before, I knew I was going to be, you know, someone special, someone big. I just didn't know how or when, but I knew it was going to happen in the back of my mind, and I wasn't going to stop until it did happen. So that's when it clicked for me. Being in the gym was a big part of that, though, I would say. It really helped my confidence.
Yeah.
And I started really appreciating who I really was. Mentally and physically, I could look at myself and I can appreciate who I was instead of feeling disgusted. And I was never an unattractive person. Like I never was. Girls always liked me. I was always very, very good with women. I make it sound like I wasn't, but I was. And I wasn't happy with myself. It's because of how I felt inside. Something wasn't right inside with my self-esteem. And maybe that was my fault. Maybe that was how other people treated me. Maybe it was a mixture of everything. But what I did know is that I wasn't going to let that dictate my life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just said, fuck everyone. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to get there.
I feel like the gym is kind of the most basic, primal, foolproof way to build self-esteem, because it's like if you are that loser type, and I'm not saying you thought you were a loser,
did
but
feel
from
like it
that from the
sometimes.
outside, right?
Or how people thought about me. Yeah, of course.
The gym is such like it's such an unforgiving, blunt way to kind of measure your progress, because it's very one-to-one. It's like how much you put in is how much you get out of it. And it's literally self-evident in the mirror. Like, you can look at yourself and, like, if you're not growing, you know that it's your fault. And if you are growing, you also know it's because of yourself. So it's like kind of the most foolproof way for most guys to start building self-confidence if they're at an all-time low is to just do something as simple as getting in the gym, pushing themselves, getting stronger, getting bigger. And it's kind of like it's shifting it from a downward spiral into an upward spiral. The gym can open so many avenues in that way.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's progress. Some people aren't making progress in life. They're just living. They're just existing. There's many people you probably know like that. Man, they're not really improving. They're just kind of the same.
Yeah.
And one thing people will say about me from high school that know me right now, where I'm at now, and while they're still probably living the same life, which is fine. I never wanted to do that. I don't care how weird I was. I never wanted to live like them, you know? And so when people see me now, they're like, wow, he's so much different. Like, not just physically. Physically, I've changed a lot. But they're just like, it's like eerie to them how much I've changed.
I'm the same way.
In a short period. Like, it almost weirds them out. Like, they don't want to believe it. Like, no, that's not like, you're Dawson? Like, you're the guy I remember from high school?
Yeah.
Like, some people literally do not recognize me. And then they see me, and it's like, it shocks them. And it's not just how I look, it's how I act. Like, it's a totally different person.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are the same their entire lives. Not saying it's a bad thing. Some people regress. But I know we all know people that have been the same since high school or maybe for years. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's just what I've done and what people have noticed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was in high school. Not at all.
Same.
And Sush
time.
says he could agree too.
We could all agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Definitely chilled out since high school. I feel like in high school, the thing I can remember the most is I was very disrespectful towards authority in general.
So was
because I hated having someone else dictate my life and tell me what to do. And at the time, I had no idea that was going to translate into being self-employed. I always figured I would work for someone. But looking back on it, it's kind of ridiculous to think that I would ever work for someone because I had such a blatant disregard for authority because I felt like it was illegitimate. So I just hated people dictating over my life in any way, shape, or form. But since then, I've chilled out a lot more. And in a way, it's like the less I've had authority in my life to the point now where I don't really have anyone having any authority over my life, the more I've kind of come to respect it and be okay with it, you know? Versus back then, it was like, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do or tell me how to act?
More rebellious, non-conformative.
Yeah.
That's how I was in high school too. I didn't like no one could tell me anything. Nobody.
Yeah.
That's not really a good thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't say it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what was built into me. And I remember my especially my dad would always tell me, you just don't like authority at all. And I was like, no, it's not that I have any issue with authority. It's just so-and-so was being a dick. The principal was being a fucking asshole.
Yeah, you always
But
had
now,
an
but now
excuse.
looking, yeah, exactly.
That's
But
how
now
I
looking
was
back
too.
on it, it's like, no, I just didn't like other people telling me how to act or behave.
Last question, and this is my question. We're going to end the podcast on this because it's coming up on 2 hours. I asked you this last time we filmed this. What would your advice, if you can give one piece of advice that anyone listening who wants to live the life that you live or live the life that we live, what's your advice for them to achieve that goal without getting too broad or without getting too in depth with it? But what's your advice to them who they want to maybe take gear or be in the fitness industry or whatever it may be a presence in the fitness industry. What's your advice for them?
In terms of gear, like I said, I don't want to get in depth, like you said. I would just say, make sure it's what you really want to do. It's your passion. Make sure you're 150% set on it, and you will do whatever it takes to achieve it. And that, I believe, is the best thing anyone could ever do, because at that point, you're going to do whatever it takes.
And that's not just for the fitness industry.
That's
for
anything.
For
in life.
anything.
Let's say you wanted to be a doctor, or you wanted to be a music artist, or you just wanted to be a different kind of profession. That was your passion. I would say, though, follow your passion. If being a fitness influencer isn't what you want to do, you're not going to excel at it. If it's not what you truly want to do, you're not going to be happy, because you're going to, let's say you do become one, you're not going to be satisfied. You're not going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when people tell me, like, oh, college is my passion. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not your passion. That's just what you were told. And you believe that when you get that job, you're going to be happy. I'm like, unless it really is your passion, which to few people it is, but that's not the majority. I would say follow your passion and, give it all you got. It's the best anyone can do. I can't tell people exactly how to be successful, because everyone's different and everyone will achieve different things at different, time periods. But if I could give anyone advice, I would just say, like I said before, just give it your all and do not give up. Keep going.
In terms of the passion thing, I would say it's kind of a big ask to be like, just follow your passion, because I can think back to my 18, 19-year-old self, and I didn't really know what my passion was. I knew that I liked the gym, but I would never imagine myself here. So just remember, you don't have to know exactly what your passion is. But for me, my passion was being self-employed, doing my own thing, not answering to someone else. It doesn't have to be super specific. It doesn't have to be, well, I want to be a fitness influencer who does YouTube videos and also posts on Instagram. It can be much more broad than that. Your passion can just be what you naturally gravitate towards. So I just want to say, don't feel this pressure to find your quote-unquote passion when you're only fucking 18 years old. Like, your passion will kind of find you in a way. So
yeah,
follow what your heart wants, and eventually what you're passionate about in life, you'll stumble across without really meaning to. You don't have to think that just whatever hobby you're into at the present current moment is necessarily what you're going to be passionate about for the rest of your life.
Yeah. If you told me 9 months ago or 2 years ago that I'd be sitting at this table with you two guys right now,
Life's too unpredictable. You'd have no fucking idea.
You're fucking bullshitting me.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to sit with James English and Sush and talk to them and be in the same category, or just even be in their presence. No fucking way.
Mm-hmm.
That'll never happen. But here I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, that could be someone else, for someone that they idolize, or maybe you guys, or maybe me. If they believe in themselves, they can make it happen. So I would just say, at the end of the day, if anything you're doing, just believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? Right? At the end of the day, it's what matters is if you believe in yourself, because most people never believed in me. Even if they were my friends, they'd be, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. But deep in, when they weren't around me, or maybe, I could just tell they're like, he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
He's not capable. He's not going to do it. He said he was going to do this, and he never did it. Or it didn't work out, because maybe they did something and it didn't work out for them. So they're like, oh no, he can't do it because I did it. I tried it. I couldn't do it, so he won't do it.
Yeah.
But instead think, if they're doing it, why can't I be doing it? Who says I cannot do that?
And partly I'm starting to think about it. I almost have a little bit of guilt, because my intention was never to be in the position where I'm at. So I almost have a little bit of guilt where it's like I was never like sought out on this fitness industry passion, or like I was gonna be this big name and just influencing in general. That was never my passion. So I almost have a little bit of this, almost like why am I here? Because I never really sought out for it. Like I never really had that like, yo, I'm gonna do this XYZ and this is what I'm gonna do to get to there. It kind of just happened. So I almost
Yeah, but I mean, you're not a fitness influencer. You're an entertainer,
right.
Who's interested in fitness.
But that was never my intention. That's
a good point. But think about it like this: it might not be your passion, but maybe you're still trying to find it. And this is just what the route that led you. You know, now you're here.
It just happened to be this specific thing.
Mean this is your final form, right? This doesn't mean you're stuck with this forever, because you've overachieved at a very young age.
Look at Arnold. He started out with bodybuilding, and then he turned to Hollywood, and then he turned to politics. He was the governor of California for 10, 12 years, whatever.
He could have been president if he was born in America.
Yeah.
He would have been president.
So, I mean, there you go. So it's like you don't have to have any guilt over that. Yeah. And I mean, it just seems like you are naturally, that's what you like doing, is entertaining, putting yourself out there.
Right.
Even Eric said you were like the class clown, always trying to make people laugh. It just seems like that was kind of built into you.
Yeah.
So it just, and then that entertainer happened to fall in love with lifting. So then you started making lifting content. But at the end of the day, the core of you was always being entertaining, trying to make people laugh, trying to make people feel good. So it just so happened, I mean, you could have been a fucking skier. You could have been playing water polo. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you still would have. You would have been a funny skier. You would have been a funny water polo player.
You know how many times I think about that? Is like where it's like I almost got not misplaced, but I almost just got placed into the fitness scene because of everything. Like just at that time, I was getting into lifting, and then I was also like funny, and I like posted on TikTok. How many times I've thought about like what if I was getting into like, who knows what. And
it could have been chess, bro. Yeah. You could have been a funny chess guy. I could have been
a funny chess player.
Yeah, but now you're kind of like, you know what? I still like lifting, but I'm not really trying to compete. I'm trying to do just more like lifestyle stuff, and people are still like, okay, I'm here for it. Yeah, you know. So it's like it's really not as tied to fitness as you might think it is. It's not like if you move away from fitness, people are just gonna jump ship. It's not like that at all.
I think you should be, proud of what you've done, because you've achieved a lot at a very young age. Like, you should be happy. Wow, like I've done all this in such a short amount of time. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. Not many can say they've done what you've done, and that's not just luck. So you shouldn't be guilty. That's skill. That's talent you have that most people don't have, whether you realize it or not. It's a talent. So I think you should be proud. Like, man, like that's crazy. At least that's how I feel. I didn't see myself being here.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, even though I knew in my head I wanted to be somewhere, you always have your doubts.
Right.
You're like, man, I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Funny how simple it happened too. Yeah. It's not like we had to sign any contracts. You didn't have anything to prove to us. We were just like, you're cool.
It's like, even if, let's say, I didn't talk about Tren or what I talked about, there's a great chance I still would have blown up another way. In fact, I believe it still would have happened, without a doubt. That's just who I am. It didn't just have to be on one thing. Like, a lot of people think, oh, he blew up only because of Tren. And he's throwing away, by not taking Tren, the one thing that made him so famous. And I'm like, no, it's not how it actually is.
Oof.
People actually really enjoy who I am. They find me entertaining. They find me motivating. Not just because I talked about a steroid that's in my name. That was probably like maybe, I don't know, a small fraction of my 10%. Content.
Yeah.
So that's just what I wanted to say on that.
I never even...
But there's people that believe that.
Still to this day, I don't think about myself as being quote-unquote blown up. So I never think about myself as even well-known, because I don't know. I just like go to Starbucks. I wake up, go to Starbucks, come home, have my food. I never think about like, oh, I've got this many followers.
And that's the influencer lifestyle. It's like, it's just, we're just living our life. We're just doing what we do.
Normal people.
Yeah. So I go through it, and I never really. I mean, I guess that's kind of what makes me. That's what makes it pretty easy to be myself online, because it's just like I never think about myself as having. I don't really have like a brand, you know. I don't think of myself as having to keep up with some certain image because I don't have one. It's just like it's just jam,
Yeah.
you know.
Whatever you're fucking with at the time, that's your brand.
Yeah, and people happen to agree with
Like
me.
if you're bulking right now, that's your brand. And
Yeah.
If you're cutting, you're fucking. That's your brand.
Yeah.
So
if
whatever
if
you're-
I have a certain political view, that's part of my brand.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It's not like I have a specific like. Oh, I'm the dude with the fucking like the fashion one in the fitness industry. I'm the dude who's like the biggest in the fitness industry. I don't really consider myself, which is kind of funny, as like part of the fitness industry, because in my view, I've never competed. So it's almost like I'm just like a buff guy that lifts. Maybe after I compete, that'll change, but I honestly don't think that it will.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't
yeah.
feel like you need to be a competitor to have a huge influence in the fitness industry.
No, I
Now.
don't. I just
Now,
so many of my followers have gassed me up and been like, "You can be really successful,
Bro,
maybe."
you're gonna like your fucking show. You're gonna win. Like I'll
hope
say,
so.
clip this fucking clip right now
yeah,
Nah, don't.
and play
What if I don't
Kenny.
win?
Kenny, play this at his show day video. This man is gonna fucking win whatever stage he hops on. He's gonna fucking.
What
win
if
the
it's a
show.
stat class?
I don't give a
Nah,
fuck. If
we're
it's
not
a stat
clipping
class.
shit, bro.
Bro,
We're not clipping
Kenny,
shit.
clip this clip. He's gonna win his fucking show. Like this guy's built for this shit.
I hope so. We'll see. But anyway, I mean that's basically it for the topics.
2 hours.
Yeah, fuck, we did go 2 hours.
Dude, I'm not gonna
again.
lie. It is 2:42 a.m. This is the second podcast we filmed. I'm burnt the fuck out. So
No, I was thinking about it. We've done about like
4 hours of talking.
four and a half total in terms of setting up and stuff. It's about 20% of our day. So 20% has just been podcast. So
It was worth it.
in
I really
terms
hope
of,
you guys enjoy this. What else? Well, we had a really good outro the last time. What did I say? Oh, I was just gonna touch on. We know that we haven't been here for a while, so next week we are going to do a podcast. Next week, it's just gonna be James and I, maybe Weston, depending on how he's feeling. Sorry, I'm drunk, but it's gonna be really good because we have a lot to talk about. It's been 3 months since we've done one, so we've done a lot of trips, we've done a lot of drugs, like we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So next week it's just gonna be James and I. We're gonna touch on this, but because DTren was in here, we might as well start it off with a fucking banger. So Dawson, we were very excited to have you on. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for coming
Yeah.
here. It's been a fucking blast so far.
Thanks for having me.
We're about halfway through your trip.
I feel very blessed to be here because, I mean, who else is doing this? So I feel very appreciative that you guys feel this way about me and that you enjoy having me here. I just makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like weird. I feel like welcomed, like at home almost. Like it's weird to kind of compare it to that, but it just feels like a good feeling. People actually want you to be around them. It might sound weird coming from me, but if it's just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm happy that I'm here right now with you guys. Like I feel like it's really opened up who I am inside a lot. Like it's released a lot of tension maybe I was feeling a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
good.
and I hope that this podcast has shown to people watching and people who look up to you that it's not just the TikTok and the YouTube that you're portraying as yourself.
Yeah.
So we got on here and talk about some like deep shit,
Yeah, hopefully I could give you guys a better idea.
of who Dawson DTren is.
Yeah.
Dawson Weiss.
Yeah.
Dawson Weiss.
I hope you guys enjoyed it too, So I enjoyed it. I loved it.
If they're still listening, they probably did
without a doubt.
in 2 hours.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. You guys know, hey, you know the drill, right? You know the fucking drill. So Anabar, you guys can go ahead and use code MOG. We got Dawson co-sign the Anabar. But
And a butter coming out like middle of March.
yeah, if you guys want to support this podcast, you guys can go ahead and use code MOG.
This is actually the only sponsor we have as of right now, by the way.
as the podcast.
It's just
Yo,
10
White
bars.
Claw Surge. Like, I've been like, yo, seriously. Blood orange. This shit is
Everyone
fire.
spam White Claw. Spam C-Bomb and spam White Claw.
Yeah. So, thank you guys
Damn.
for watching. Thank you for coming on here. And we will see you guys next week. New podcast every once in a while, but we promise you guys there will be one next week. But we can't promise you there will be one the next. So we will see you guys in the next one. And
Peace
thank
out.
you guys. Peace.
Peace.